Well, well,
Wait a minute,
well.
how big it is?
Oh, okay. How you guys doing this fine evening? Oh,
Good job, King.
I'm the Ogre on the walk. But if we're gonna properly react Andy, I gotta turn on the old face cam, and I will. But for the walk, we're chilling. How you guys doing this fine evening? Thanks, bits. Ortorius. New ramen place opened near you, quote unquote. They have a challenge. The Mega Bowl. You'll be trying it, $76 if you fail, free and a hat if you win. The Mega Beef Bowl Challenge at HeyWoah, just like in Persona 4? What kind of stats are you going to get when you succeed? You still get stats if you fail, don't worry about it. Although you may, if you dare, enter the meat dimension. As the arcade thinks, a tier 1, 59. 59 months, no money down. But down 21 pounds in a month, feeling big while getting small. Just getting tight. There are many ways to be big. You and CJ both. Slimming down. Good to hear. In other words, simply getting healthier. And while we meme about being big, the real punk rock is being healthy, am I right, chatters? Am I right, chat room? Anyway. Yeah, you gotta make room for Adepticon, because the week of Adepticon, when everybody shows up to it in Milwaukee, by the way, you're gonna gain 37 fucking pounds from Big Breakfast, Discord magic for 16 hours a day. Wildman Egas thinks it's Big Prime for 12 months. It's almost a baker's year. Appreciate it. Thingmate on YouTube says, hi, first time catching a stream, I should say. What is it we're checking out today? Today we're going to check out SPGD's YouTube channel. And he's the guy who wrote the rules for Spearhead. And he's got a video on it, and I'm actually interested in what the man has to say about it, because I played Spearhead for Age of Sigmar. And, I thought it was good. Oh, nice. We had the piano come in there as if to accentuate my sentence, but yeah. I thought Spearhead was great for what it was supposed to do. I think it very succeeded at it. And I'm interested in what he has to say about the whole matter. So I thought I'd do a little React Andy stream. Pretending like I'm a real streamer, you know, reacting to stuff and making faces. Watching a 22-minute video, pausing every once in a while. You know, pausing after they say something and being like, true, dude. Wow. Damn, that's crazy. And then just like keep playing the video, you know? Anyway, we'll see how that goes. I don't have much experience React Andying to stuff, but we'll try it out. Dude, Hype Train level 1? Hell yeah. It's like it's really 2020. Let go. And then after that, I don't have anything planned. I might watch his other video because he's only got 2 videos. And he's apparently brand new to YouTube. And I thought whatever audience I have left, I can give him some views. You know, people can click like and subscribe on that one. And all that business. I like game designers that are good. What can I say? Simple man. After that, I don't really have a plan, so we're opening up the Rolodex, alright? I posted about it in Discord. You got a tier list? I'll do it, unless I don't want to. But we'll see about that.
We obviously know a little bit about what's coming.
Massive.
Big.
My word, it has exploded. Loads. So, we're coming a bit early.
We're coming a bit early. Thanks for the 1,000 bits, Artorius. Appreciate it. What if you react to somebody reacting to the video? That's what I'm doing. I don't believe I've seen a reaction to this video when I was looking for this video. I haven't watched it yet, which is what they all say, except I'm not lying. Not pre-watched. I'm making a react video, which SJ will cut into a nice little concise vid, you know, and we'll put it up. And then this gives someone else the opportunity to react to me reacting to it. Perhaps him, perhaps some other AOS content creator. We can get a little react chain going. And then this gives someone else the opportunity to react to me reacting to it. Perhaps him, perhaps some other AOS content creator. We can get a little react chain going. And then this gives someone else the opportunity to react to me reacting to it. Perhaps him, perhaps some other AOS content creator. We can get a little react chain going. And then this gives someone else the opportunity to react to me reacting to it. Perhaps him, perhaps some other AOS content creator. We can get a little react chain going. And then this gives someone else the opportunity to react to me reacting to it. Perhaps him, perhaps some other AOS content creator. We can get a little react chain going. And then this gives someone else the opportunity to react to me reacting to it. Perhaps him, perhaps some other AOS content creator. We can get a little react chain going. And then this gives someone else the opportunity to react to me reacting to it. Perhaps him, perhaps some other AOS content cre In other words, I'm a job creator. Oh, Martin Orlando. Formerly good painter Stormcast man, later Lumineth painter man. Later still good painter Chaos man. Perhaps moving on to other things. Welcome. Somebody tried to bait me. And I pointed at the ceiling of my truck and said that's bait. They're like, the New York Times 100 Best Movies of the 21st Century list came out. And I took a cursory scroll and then stopped myself because I was becoming actually triggered, okay? And I know you yourself have opinions about this kind of a thing, and so it might be a shared suffering experience. We'll see if I get baited into looking at the list or not and talking about it for 16 hours. I have a lot of backlogs of tier lists in my DMs, Artorias. In fact, I clicked on one or two of those. I'll have you know. Wait, am I still logged into IMDb? Oh, I'm not. Okay. We're on the other computer today, and so I'm not logged into my IMDb account. Good. Nobody needs to see that. I'm keeping my credits close to the chest. Although, can we get a fucking dark mode over here? Surely there's a dark mode on IMDb. It's 2025. Nope. Can't do it. Absolutely embarrassing. Can't be believed by me. Say what you will about us being a quarter of the way through the century and them already making a top 100 list, but hey, it's fine. That's content. Anyway, thanks for the hype train. Appreciate it. Shared suffering experience. Let's go. You have your preview points written out to make yourself look better. Rookie, react, Andy move. Yeah, it's true. I mean, my good content is prepared scripts that I write for YouTube anyway. It's no secret. Everybody knows it. My Twitch stuff is whatever, right? We're here to chill. It's the prepared stuff. And so if I'm gonna, you know, maybe I'll write a script if I'm gonna make a YouTube video out of it or something. Been playing Spearhead about once a week for maybe the last 7 months. Neat to see the guy talk through it. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it. I wonder how in the weeds he's going to get as far as the design of it. Big chillin'. Yeah, weekend chillin'. Shared suffering is why we are here. Yeah, we are here just to suffer. Thanks, Metal Gear. Bing chillin'. Shall we get to it? Let's get right to it. With that being said, let's get right into it. Should stream a Spearhead game afterwards so we can talk through it? Maybe. I know what did I play? I played at least 2, possibly 3. I can't recall. At least 2, possibly 3 games of Spearhead. And I streamed 2, possibly 3 of them. So I have the tiniest amount of experience with it. I saw that it was good. It was balanced. It had little hype moments. It seemed almost impossible not to get it seemed very likely to get a close game for the most part. But I suppose that depends on a lot of other stuff, and I only played a few of them. But for what it was, I think it was good, and AOS really did need something like this. A smooth on-ramp for a normal person. And by normal person, I mean not me. Because when I got into the game, Played with empty bases a whole lot until I had a 2,000 point list, and then I just bought the 2,000 point list and painted all of it. I am to understand, as I came to realize much later, that is abnormal. Most people like to buy a box and play 1,000 points and then just keep playing 1,000 points for 2 years and then say the game sucks. Circa 2018. Ardent Throne redeemed meme ad. Yeah, we'll do a meme ad before we get to the content. No big deal. You got both the Seraphon ones, and you're going to make up a Stormcast one next. Gotta collect them all.
Good job, King.
We're going to do a faction focus on the Soulblight Raven Lords. I assume that's a text-to-speech issue for Grave Lords. I really wanted to do faction focuses and every army for 4th edition, but I realized that it would be hard for me to sell it this edition, with the battle tomes being so boring and bland. And I didn't want to sell people on something that I personally was waiting for 5th to fix. So, you know, there it is. To the extreme detriment of, you know, my channel and dreams of being a popular content creator, you know. But I don't know, some people can do that and I just couldn't. Big improvement. GHB is a big improvement. The core rules are very good. I have a lot of good things to say about it, but I can't quite chill for it. Whiskey Lima subscribed tier 1, 54 months. Nice streak. Painting a big tug. The Drogoth King you picked up used for $20 since it didn't have a base. 3D printer later. You have a sweet new lad to work on. Yeah, the secondhand market for AOS stuff is so good. Maybe that's normal, but I come from Magic, and the secondhand market for Magic is, well, the market for Magic, and it is not kind. But I mean, I bought most of my stuff back then. I used Facebook, and I'm just like, oh, Facebook Marketplace, somebody has 800 points of stuff that they have already assembled, so I don't even have to do that, and it's just gray plastic, and they're selling it for 50% off. Shit, yeah. Saves me time and money. Easy game, easy life. And I imagine people do that nowadays as well. I always had to learn to cook again, says Artorias. Didn't burn the chicken this time. Boring flavor, but well designed. Yeah, chicken breast. The old blackened chicken. You know, the most boring meal I can imagine, you know. Now it's time to put that seasoning back in, which is the armies. It's kind of like, I mean, it's like a lot of things. It's like Path of Exile Leagues. It's like World of Warcraft expansions. It's like Final Fantasy games. The most important part is whether your class feels good or not. You know? Is warrior rotation fun and good this season? That answer alone might be whether or not somebody even likes or plays an expansion, right? That kind of thing is so important, and it's the thing that they failed the hardest at this edition. And almost literally everything else is so good. But that thing's really important. That's fair. You actually got an AOS because of your every army video and picked up the Soulblight Spearhead. Nice. Yeah. You know, so many people say that. I guess a lot of people watch those videos, to be perfect, you know, to be fair. I was so bright with hope for the future back then. I was like, damn, this shit's good. But look, the models, your guys, the hobby of painting and customizing, you do that, and then the great wheel of rules and balance just rotates, and eventually it'll rotate around. No big deal. The more you think about it, the more you think I nailed it. With a few months ago, you mentioned that 4th edition is a rock-solid skeleton, but nothing more than bare bones. As sturdy as they are, hopefully 5th will put some meat on it. Yeah, it's a grand old skeleton. Way better in almost all ways than all the previous editions. But it's skinny, and I don't know. You gotta put meat on those bones. You gotta put skin around it, and then you gotta dress it up. All the dressings. Your wizard tower is built under a rock. What about AOS are we reacting to tonight? Frostlord? No, we're reacting to the person who designed Spearhead. Has a video on their process of designing Spearhead. And I thought Spearhead was a good job. So I'm interested in what the man has to say. Put up a YouTube video. Tiny channel. Just started it. 2 videos only. 2.8K subscribers, you know, just whatever. And if it's good, then great. I hope in a tiny way my reaction to it might help in some manner. Only 16,000 people have watched the video. Glad you got the army boxes when they were 180. You also got 2 Carnosaurs and 1 Troglodyte for free. Just hanging out in the local game store they didn't need. Cool. Saved 400 bucks. Buying nice lots on eBay as well. It's the way. You rewatched the 2020 Every Army video yesterday. The video had sunlight in it and threw me off. Yeah, I think I used a white background because I took all the pictures from their website, and their website has a white background, and I wasn't about to, like, key out 300 pictures or whatever. And then I did that, but I did a rush job on it because it would have taken truly obnoxious amounts of time for the one after that. You want 5th edition to put 4th edition down on a chair and tell it, now we're going to get goofy. Yeah, I want to... Give me the mix. It's time to get creative, you know? Misfrizzle this shit, right? Get your hands dirty, make mistakes. Get creative. You don't have to rework the engine. You don't have to build it from the ground up anymore. I mean, I'm sure they will do something because it's even to just look like something is new because it's an addition, and you kind of have to do that. You can't just be like, it's the same. We're just calling it 5th, and the army books will be good this time, right? They can't do that. They have to at least superficially change something about the core rules for it to be worth calling it a new edition, and I understand that. I'm just saying, do the superficial thing, and then have the army books be good. It'll be an excellent edition. G'day, HeyWoah. Have a nice stream, mate. Thanks, Alice. Any more Poorhammer collabs planned? Oh, yeah. Poorhammer... Wait, no, it wasn't Poorhammer. It was Gooner Hammer reached out and wanted to play a game of something. I don't know if it was AOS or Trench Crusade. And I said yes, but I didn't know what was going to be happening with my schedule. So I still want to, but my schedule exploded into... It's not streaming AOS a lot, but the offer's still there. I haven't talked to the Poorhammer guys, so I'm not sure. I don't know. I hope the video did well. I haven't looked at it recently to see the metrics or anything, but I thought it was a decent collab. They might not because I just haven't been making a lot of stuff. And the point of collabs is to have 2 giant audiences push one video up with each of their one hands, you know, at the top of a ladder or something. And if it's not worth it, then you know, what are you doing? So if that's the reason, I don't mind. It just makes sense. The video was absolutely hilarious. Good, I hope so. I mean, I thought it was a good video, but it's hard to look at your own collab stuff with a discerning eye. First time chatter, Agent 00 Tuck. 4th edition created a good simple framework. Hopefully that'll let them go bonkers with 5th. Yeah, that's the copium for me. Well, no, it's opium, really. I'm looking forward to that. I hope so. Pour one out for your primary monitor. 10 years and 2 months. It just finally kicked the bucket. Don't worry. When computer parts last that long, the upgrade you eventually get is generally staggering. So you got that to look forward to. And, well, hey, probably got your money's worth out of it. If they cut battle tactics and add tons of choices, even if they aren't all great, then you'll be happy. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to. As much as I decry the concept of battle tactics for the most part, I think it's fool's errand. And all of their iterations seem to just be lessening how not fun they are, rather than making the game more fun. Which is a really nebulous term, I understand. But the GHB ones are better than the other ones. Onwards and upwards, right? Just the same but better, so they can't remake Spearhead of 5th and remake, yeah. Pigeon Scruff, Tier 1. Thanks for the 7-monthies. Whoa. Big. I was watching Plibby earlier today on that Metal Gear. She seemed to be perhaps struggling a little bit with the gameplay, which was never good. I would never, even back, I remember when the game came out. Oh, Artorias, thanks for the 5 Tier 1s.
Kind of invigorating. Everybody doesn't appreciate it like we connoisseurs do.
Kind of invigorating. Anyway, I remember when that game came out, Metal Gear Solid. Even at the time, I would never have accused that game of having good gameplay. It had a bizarre kind of autistic attention to detail for immersion of its time, and a wonderfully ham, just a full-on ham, wonderfully hammy story and character. Really good atmosphere as well. Anyway, get sniped. TY for the big 5 and the 1. Dude, Plibid got shot. She got hit. She got hit with a Tier 1. Eat shit. Metal Gear Solid sucks ass. Obviously, you love it. It's so endearing. Metal Gear is one of those games. There's a famous quote by the game designer of Magic the Gathering for the past 30 years, Mark Rosewater. And he's talking about big picture, and big picture is important, but you need to put, as a designer, you need to put the little things in a game, because it's the little things that players fall in love with. And that's like a perfect encapsulation of Metal Gear. Like every 5 minutes, there's a little thing that a player can latch onto and like or dislike. Some of it's frustrating and some of it's annoying and some of it's hilarious. You know, there's so many things like that in all those games. Yeah, I mean the Roseanne writer. Yes, Mark Rosewater's earlier job was writing for Roseanne. It's true. and he's much shorter and higher pitched than you could possibly imagine. Shrill is a word I might ascribe to him with no disrespect, just pure explanation. But damn, he's got a V8 inside that brain. Kojima's a hack, but he's weird enough to wrap around a little bit. Those are the best kinds. Alright. You have to be a little bit of a hack fraud to reach the highest heights, I think. Kojima is like if David Cage was good. alternate parallel universe David Cage. Although I typically, when I'm talking to people who don't know anything about anything, I describe Kojima as Quentin Tarantino if he was Japanese, made games, and a little more of a hack fraud. Just a touch. The fact that you can smoke in the game makes it. They got around sensors by having it hurt you. Like, not only is that a game mechanic, because you smoke to see the lasers, so and you need a downside to it besides just equipping it, because the whole only equip one thing, right? That sort of a game mechanic, right? Creates tension and decision points. It can fuck you randomly, so you have to think ahead and on your feet. But the fact that the cigarettes hurt you is how they got around depicting it. Because the 90s was the beginning of the era where you started not to glorify that kind of thing. Although it's really hard because smoking looks fucking cool. Which we're lucky about this vaping stuff. Because vaping is becoming even more of a problem because it's apparently potentially not quite as bad for you as smoking, although really bad for you. And a lot easier to do all over the place, but you look absolutely lame when you're vaping. And I think that's going to be the eventuality. Like, that's why it can't stick around. Smoking looks so fucking badass and timeless, but vaping is hella lame. And so it'll lose in the end. Congrats on quitting SJ Arcade. There's little things in Magic that drew you into it, like the Honda picnic in the new basic forest, just the little things. Parallel universe where Kojima wrote Detroit Solve Racism. He would not have had the robots sit in the back of the bus. He wouldn't have done that. For as unbelievably obvious as Kojima's symbolism is, and as cryptic as he thinks it is by the way hilarious, it can't touch David Cage. Like, I'm experiencing third-person embarrassment, like, with the David Cage stuff. It's so on the nose that it's like worse than student film level stuff. I've seen my fair share of them. I've made some. Hey, well, if we may indulge in a Magic question, can you run the game Watch together in the same deck? Obviously, one commander. Run the Gate Watch. All right, yeah. The Gate Watch together, meaning the Planeswalkers who became the Gate Watch after 3rd Ravnica or something like that. If not, do combinations between them exist? If we cannot get a quick TLDR overview of the Gatewatch options. So, their representations in the game are simply Planeswalker cards, which is a type of card. Planeswalkers in Commander tend not to be very good, because the whole shtick with planeswalkers is that they're very powerful, but they have to stay alive for several turns to get the full juice out of them, and so you have to protect them, which is sometimes hard in 1v1. A lot harder when you have 3 opponents. And so the long-term planeswalker payoffs tend to fall by the wayside as not worth trying to do, and it just becomes planeswalkers are like kind of expensive sorceries where you play them and you use their +1, and then if they live, cool. If not, hey, whatever. Or you do some combo like Doubling Season, or there's this flying blue creature for 5 that enters and doubles the counters on something so that you play it, it ultimates immediately, and then you move on with your day. It's like an epic sorcery. And that's probably the best way to do them. So can you play a bunch of planeswalkers in a commander deck? Of course. Can you choose for lore reasons for them to be the Gatewatch? Sure. You can choose the Gatewatch versions. Most of them suck, but you could do it. There is a type of deck called Super Friends, which was later renamed to Planeswalkers in the great unflavoring of all the names of things in Magic, which makes it more accessible to new people, but loses a lot of its charm and history. Where have I heard this before? In gaming or media or IPs or everywhere. But yeah, it was once called Super Friends and now it's called just Planeswalkers for categories. And you can build a deck like that that just has a million Planeswalkers out and manage to protect them, generally with Pillow Fort style effects. But it's one of the most built and then taken apart types of archetypes, I guess, because your turns take obscenely long to essentially kind of do nothing except maybe Wrath of God, and you just hog all the game time to sit there spinning your wheels forever. Even more egregiously sometimes even than stuff like Is It, who are at least trying to win with their real long turns. And as always, farewell ruins your entire life. Saw a clip of Snake Eater today. You forgot about the goofy-ass implied sex scene where they remove his transmitter. Yep. Cinema. Pure cinema. And he's like positively clueless, sexless, autist, like main character senpai in that entire scene too. He's just a little bit reminiscent of Tarzan from Kingdom Hearts in that scene. Naked Snake is our favorite head empty gun autist man. Yeah, he's... The himbo action is like off the goddamn charts on Naked Snake. Possible super smooth brain question. Doesn't matter if that planeswalker or lore character is dead. No. I mean, people are sad about that, but generally Magic lore is so bad that no one cares. Especially when we get hat sets and stuff. WizBiz, we're talking Magic during the walk as I chat a little bit before the content. You haven't played since 2015, but a friend is getting you into Commander. How does red deck win in Commander? You want to go aggro? Pure normal aggro is a struggle, and it's systematic. Here, and you'll get it immediately if you used to play, especially if you used to play red. For 35 years, red has been balanced meticulously, every single card in it, against one opponent with 20 life. They've been printing a lightning bolt and shittier versions of lightning bolt like chain lightning, and shittier yet versions of lightning bolt like lava spike. Incinerate, you know, the 2 mana ones, printing shock into standard. Ooh, is this a lightning bolt standard rotation or a shock standard rotation? Here's guys with 4 toughness to make them whatever. All, you know, ball lightning, you know, everything like that. You are balanced to cast roughly 10 spells to kill your opponent if you're a burn deck, right? Or a bunch of jackal pups or whatever, and the various iterations of that all the way up into like 2/2s for 1 with basically no downside, stuff like that. And now you're in a 40 life format. So you got to do double damage to kill someone. And you have 3 opponents. So you have to chew through 120 life instead of 20. That almost single-handedly kills the idea of quote-unquote normal red aggro and or burn. It's just dead. The numbers are all wrong. If the numbers were representative just for commander, you would have to have lightning bolt do like 15 damage or something like that, and that's of course absurd. And so you got to do other stuff. Commander damage maybe, doublers and triplers, you know, storm kind of stuff, combos kind of stuff, right? You got to think outside the box. It can't just be typical red aggro. Because even if you made the most finely tuned typical red aggro that can kill 1 person, you still have a bunch of other opponents. So you got to go big and have huge wins and combo-y and stuff like that. At least for red. Some, you know, many other decks can play just aggro guys and stuff, but mono red typically not. The numbers just aren't there. I'm sorry to say, because I'm a red deck wins fan myself. Got that Patrick Sullivan all-star highlight against, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Ross Miriam. You know, that's how you play a red deck. Anyway, you gotta get creative with it. It's the one color that they really need to help out in Commander. Every other color is basically good. Black is excellent. It's even starting to get some enchantment removal now, even though none of it's good yet. Green finds itself in a paradise land where Commander is just perfect for exactly what green wants to do, and they decided to give it almost as much draw as blue for no reason over the course of the last 10 years. You're good there. Blue is, of course, amazing. They even gave a bunch of cool shit to white recently. Red is the color that clearly they just haven't quite gotten to yet. It's got 5 amazing commander cards and everything else sucks. And they banned one of them. Dockside. Because maybe it was a little too good. Yeah, red deck wins by going big, in other words. You need to be... There's an old archetype called Big Red. And that's kind of what you got to do. Would Goblin Red deck not work? Not really, no. Kranko's a decent shot, and Perforos are a decent shot for those two. Kranko, all you have to do is dodge Wrath of Gods, and you can make actually 1,000,000 goblins that will kill everyone. So Kranko's a decent choice. Muxus maybe, and Perforos, although... And Perforos is just like, all right, I'm gonna do 2 damage to everybody that doesn't target as many times per turn as humanly possible, and it doesn't matter if you kill it all because it's just entering. If you're trying to like physically attack, I guess. But I guess Perforos isn't physically attacking, you're just having them enter. More of a token deck in mono red. You started Magic in 1998, sold off your collection for the second time about 4 months ago. Just lost interest with all the universes beyond and the crazy power creep. Both of those things are true. You'll still play Commander, Sealed, or Draft, you're just focusing on AOS now. Yeah, I've retired into just Commander. Started in the dark was a tournament grinder for a long time. I was what is known in the industry as, quote, almost good. Meaning, if I went to a local tournament, I would expect to win it. If I went to a local 1K, I would be the most likely to win it statistically among everybody who showed up. If I went to a Star City Games, I would expect to sweat tiebreakers for a win and in. If I went to a GP, I would day 2. But not quite, I got myself some pro points and everything like that, but not like really good. Not like a gold level pro, not like getting a trophy, not getting top 16 or top 8 at GPs, not going to the pro tour and actually doing well. So I'm what is known as almost good. And now I just play Commander. It's kind of fascinating though when you think about how good some people can be at like anything, And you can always be humbled. The higher in the ladder you climb, the rungs space themselves out more, like a dream sequence almost. And people who play chess know this well. Difference between a 2000 and a 2600. Watching a grandmaster play against an IM or something like that, and just like a child dealing with them, that kind of thing. There was a point in time where I couldn't enter a tournament in the state of Wisconsin, okay, which is where I live. There was a point in time where I couldn't enter a tournament because my ELO was so high that if I split for first, I would, in total, end up possibly losing a point. Net. For going like 6-0, draw, and then split the top, I would end up losing a point. So my ELO rating was so high that I was like obliged not to play. Because even winning basically everything would still either do nothing or make me lose points for the next 2 buys I was trying to get at a GP or something. So that's pretty good, right? But then I would go to Las Vegas and get paired up against Huey Jensen and just get fucking dunked on. No chance. Like in the draft, he basically built the deck that I did except better. Like just shit on. What's that one basketball player that everybody said sucked? And he's like, yeah, I'm not really good compared to people in the NBA, but I'm really good compared to you. You suck. I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me. I can't remember who said that, but that sticks with me. And it was true. And then he had like some open challenge where anyone could challenge him to a 1v1, and super famous trash talk like, New York basketball players and really, really good people, really, hometown heroes and stuff. He would just 11-0 every single one of them while being 45 and overweight, just destroying them. And it's like, it puts it into perspective, doesn't it? Brian Scalabrine. That might be it. I think you might be right. There's a bigger difference between you and me than me and LeBron, yeah. Not quite make out of nowhere miracle bant deck on the way to an event level, but still real nice with it. You get it? Yeah. Imagine being American. He would be closer to LeBron, yeah, because of a UK player. Yeah. Anyway, good meme. Or maybe Magda. Yeah, his question was about aggro, though. And I don't know if you want to count Perforos as aggro. It's more group slug in a certain respect. Or maybe like token. Or maybe just tokens. But yeah, typically red goes big to win, or it goes combo to win. It rarely just does aggro because the numbers don't quite add up. But going big is fun and it can work. Oh, speaking of Brian's Scalabrini and basketball, to wrap up my story in a nice little lasso here. The year when I played Huey, that was the year he was, at that moment, the voting was still happening for the Hall of Fame. And I wished him good luck and figured he would get in, and he did. He's actually really good at basketball. So there's the tie-in. Or he was when he was younger. Pretty good at basketball. Who knew? Kikijiki is a goblin, that's true. And Kikijiki will kill everyone at the table with a ham sandwich on the battlefield next to it. Any flavor you like. Always liked that Kikum Jikum guy. One of the few high points of the original Kamigawa set. One of the very few high points. You've historically been a fiddly blue-black guy, but now you're a grown man with limited time. You just want to go fast. True. Sometimes just get them dead. Just kill them. Player removal is a possibility. Oh, I can't deal with enchantments. Oh, what if they destroy all my artifacts? Hey, remove the player. Are you exiled out yet with the league, Mr. Well? Hoping you're having a good evening so far. Yeah, I might. I can tell that the fugue state that I entered for a solid 2 weeks now with Path of Exile Season of the Abyss 03. Yeah, we're ramping it down. I've reached the end and I've done everything. I've killed everything. I've done all the pinnacles. I've done everything. And now I'm just like doing maps to do maps. And that's arguably the weakest part of the game right now because by their own admission, they haven't got to it yet. Game's not out. This is early access and they're like, hey, the end game is a placeholder. We haven't done that yet, basically. Next patch is the big end game one. And I've reached that point and there's nothing else to do but make an alt. And I did make an alt this season and she got to that point too. And she ended up being better in the warrior at it. Although not as fast for clear, obviously. But yeah, it's petering out. But damn, this was a great one. This really instilled a lot of confidence in me about Path of Exile and its direction. What an about face, in a good way, from Season of the Hunt. Which was largely shit. As a season, mind you. Could you explain your Kamigawa Island video? You didn't get the joke as a non-magic player who's familiar with the basic rules. So, they made a card in the clue set. They made a card that is a direct reference to Columbo. Okay? So for all the actual literal boomers, I don't mean boomer as a state of mind as it is often used now. I mean the literal boomers in the chat who have watched Columbo or even know who it is. They made a magic card of him. And he has flash. You can play him at the end of someone's turn. And the statement on the card is you can cast all your spells as instant speed as long as it's the end of someone's turn. Because, of course, his quote is, "Oh, just one more thing." You know, that's his famous line. Just one more thing, Senator, you know? And so it was funny as a tie-in. I made a little meme video about it. And the Kamigawa Islands is just it's the classic play from old Legacy. And the reason why all of your lands should be the same picture and not mix up the arts on them. Because if you daze someone, and daze is a counterspell, you can cast it for free by returning an island from your battlefield to your hand. And so if you, let's say, you don't have all your lands the same picture, right? And they're all mixed up. Well, if you daze someone and pick up an island, Island A we'll call it, with one little floating island on it, and then it's your turn, you play a land from your hand, but it has a different picture, you've given the opponent information about what is and was in your hand. It's like a tiny, percentage angle thing. And it's like a famous example that has now since become old hat and kind of a meme. Like, okay, Grandpa, yeah, the 2 different island pictures for the days thing. And so I mixed both of those and made a Columbo episode out of it. I hope I explained that decently. Magic has hidden information and public information, and there's also a whole bunch of tells and fake tells and implied bluffing and stuff like that. It's, as I understand it, other card games aren't quite so libertarian about it, or Wild West maybe. And so anything you can do to like detect a tell as to what could be in someone's hand, or try to Jedi mind trick someone into doing something they shouldn't, is fair game and even kind of celebrated. Not actual cheating, obviously, but getting one over on someone, angle shooting, things like that. Can you ask the reverse of the question earlier? Is Nicol Bolas viable? Do you mean the original from Legends? The original Elder Dragon main bad guy, Nicol Bolas? Is he viable? No. He's been power crept out of existence. Out of the stratosphere. You could just put him in some deck, I guess, and give him haste. And potentially have someone discard their hand. Like, that's sick. But no, you would never play a card like that. Unless you just like it and you're memeing and it's already a haste deck or something that goes big. And you're just kind of clowning around. Speaking of going big, have you heard of Semi-Blue, funny interactionless deck that just says I windmill slam uncounterable spells and creature combos in CDH? What's the commander? I haven't heard of that. I don't follow CEDH, I gotta say. Oh, Rogthras, sure, yeah. I don't truly follow CEDH that much. But I'll look into it here and there because some of the stuff is interesting. But I hadn't heard of that one. I do know that everybody entirely loads up on so much interaction that it's probably too much. And, you know, if I were to play CDH, maybe what you're talking about now is a new shift or something like that. But what's the saying? Be bold when your enemies are cautious. Or no, be risky when others are cautious or something like that. And so just play no interaction, everybody else uses all that, and just have the best hands ever and try to go for it. It's not the most satisfying strategy ever, and probably prone to a lot of failure because of the aforementioned interaction, but I suppose that could work. The idea of Force of Will being laughed at by Last March of the Ends is deeply funny, yeah. Shadow the Hedgehog would be a decent commander, perhaps, for such a thing. You know, some red-black treasure-based. If I have Shadow the Hedgehog out, I just win. Kind of all-in combo deck thing, but then it just becomes a fight over casting him in the first place, and you're kind of back to square one a little bit. And then you just play as much... Oh, you just play as many things that say can't be countered to actively invalidate that interaction, yeah. And the only way they could deal with that is stuff like... what is it? Teferi's Intervention or something like that, that exiles it instead of counter it. Mind Break Trap exiles instead of counters. Some other random things like that. But those are few and far between. Yeah, Commandeer. Split Second, can't be countered, last word, .deck, yeah. Yeah, it's not that there's zero interaction for it like a theme or something. It's just, you know, let's bring it back to Mercadian Masks, where when the blue player taps out, it means they actually don't cast anything. Like that's the game is getting them to tap out again, just like the old days, and all the free stuff. You know, music is lovely. I wanted a somber little piano thing for my rainy walk through Japan and talk to chat. It's got that varying volume to it as well, and it'll come in randomly with some notes that happen to randomly happen after I try to say something and makes it sound more profound than it really is, which I think is a happy little accident. If you want, you'll link a video of it in Discord. Yeah, sure. In the magic section. Speaking of YouTube videos, it's time for Age of Sigmar. But first, as was requested 20 minutes ago, a little meme commercial. And then we'll get right into it.
With Klondike ice cream bars, you get big servings, big taste, big cream.
Imagine
5 big, moist, delicious ounces of big
hot
ice cream and a coating made with beautiful
milk,
chocolate, so you can
pour
big cream.
like I've never had it.
Klondike, big bar, big
Cream.
Big bar, big cream. All right. And we're back. The YouTube video is how I designed Warhammer's newest small format game. He's of course referring to Spearhead. This is SPGD's miniature channel here. Just started out, 2 videos only. And I'm interested in this because I liked Spearhead. I played maybe 3 games of it on the stream and off. When it came out, finding something to fill the void of the 1,000 point game, which AOS does not scale down well, scales up very well. 3,000 points is actually more fun than 2,000, and the game doesn't even last that much longer because, well, you kill everything. But it doesn't scale down very well. Just the system is bad at it. It makes the double turn heinous. There's all sorts of problems with it. And so they had to make a similar but different, its own thing for people to have an on-ramp to the game of 1K, and they did it with Spearhead. And it was, I think, a huge success. Now, I don't really like playing Spearhead in general, personally, because what I find really fun is the customizable aspect of the game. And I like big armies rather than small ones. I like lots of guys rather than little ones. I don't care how long the game takes. And I want to build my own army list, and you don't do that in Spearhead. But it's good. Not only is it good, it's good for the game. There's a big difference between being good and whether or not I like it. And it seemed designed very well. And so I'm interested in what the designer of it has to say about it. So I'm pretending like I'm an actual streamer, and we're reacting to the video of the designer of Spearhead itself. This guy made that game for GW. And I'm interested in what they have to say about it. This is conceivably a room he's in, but it looks like a set. It looks like if you zoomed out a little bit, it would be in a warehouse with a floodlight. Although this vignette is certainly added in post. And I love the just naked, goofy light here. Good work. And the two plants. Hell yeah. Spearhead's basically the opposite of optimization. It reduces everything but tries to optimize balance. And it does that well because every game I played ended up being very close. I didn't play too many of them, but I played enough to know that it was good and that I could say it was good and not be misrepresenting stuff to an audience. So, for in-person AOS games, do you just have the rules all memorized, or what aids do you use for reference? You find yourself jumping between apps and Wikipedia. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah. Every edition, I make a cheat sheet, and the place I go is Austin Weird Knobs. That would be Austin, as in the city in Texas. Weird Knobs, as in the Warhammer Orc guys. They make a cheat sheet. It's 2 or 3 pages in color and then 2 or 3 pages in black and white. You're supposed to print it out, laminate it, 2 sides it, and then just bring that, and it basically reminds you of everything you need. After that, your army rules and war scrolls and stuff, which you end up memorizing after about 5 games or so. But it's nice to bring something if it's on your phone or otherwise, just to show your opponent to double check, right? And that's what I do, and that's what I recommend. And they update it pretty reasonably. PDFs under game aids. You like that it minimizes blowouts. Nothing can kill a new player's enthusiasm faster than getting completely blown out in their first few games. Yeah. Knobs is British English for nobles. I didn't know that. Chad, is this true? Anyway, enough delaying. Let's listen in, and then I'll pause every once in a while and be like, damn, that's crazy.
Hi everyone, Sam here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. The channel is called SPGD and it focuses on tabletop games design. In this video, we're going to do a deep dive into Spearhead for Age of Sigmar, which is a game I designed while I worked at Games Workshop. See you after the jump.
Great. I'm interested already. I wonder what SPGD stands for.
Okay, so
Spearhead, goddamn.
About 6 months ago, I was working in the design studio at Games Workshop. I worked there for around 7.5 years, predominantly as a games designer. As you might imagine, it was tons and tons
So he
of fun.
worked his way up
This
into
video
being able
is
to
the first in a
make an
series
entire
where I
kind of
plan
mini
to
game.
Look back at some of the games that I worked on while I was in the studio, and in this video is going to be Age of Sigmar Spearhead. As the focus of this channel is games design, we're going to be looking at the rules and the mechanics of Spearhead first and foremost. And we're not really going to be exploring the other areas like background, miniature design, product design, things like that, unless it has some sort of impact on the games design. Also,
Yeah.
I mentioned this in my intro video.
But the way those affect each other, I wonder if he's going to talk about that, you know? Obviously, you wouldn't talk about the art team or the miniature production or anything like that, but it might be the case that they're making this thing and it comes with this stuff in the box. Like a really simple version of this is, well, these guys come with swords and either dual swords or sword and shield. Well, then you would have to write rules for each of those two things, right? And so in that way, it does affect it. Because I know they do the art first, and after that, they make the model. And they're kind of laissez-faire about it. And then whatever that is, hey, make rules for it. It's not like, well, this army needs cavalry, so let's make a model. It's the art guys made this thing, and now we just got to write rules for it.
But I think it's worthwhile saying again here, while I will be critiquing the game's design of various Warhammer games in my videos, in this video, Spearhead, I love Warhammer in all of its guises, and I look back on my time in the studio very, very fondly. So overall, this channel is going to be a place that celebrates Warhammer, and it's going to be very, very positive in tone.
All right, that's his gun pointed at his back. Don't shoot.
Basically, if you love Warhammer, this is the right place to be. So for Spearhead, while I certainly think it has some flaws, overall it is a design that I'm very, very proud of. When you're working in a studio as a games designer, just because you believe in a design doesn't necessarily mean the wider community are going to adopt it or it's going to resonate with them in the same way.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started seeing thumbnails like this one, I knew that the reaction was going to be a good one. This thumbnail in particular really Korean detected? Interesting. to be a good one. This thumbnail in particular really made me laugh. Like, I get the joke. The rules writers at Games Workshop are all meant to be terrible at their jobs. And a quick shout out to Jay and Eons of Battle. I really like your guys' content. Spearhead released alongside 4th edition Age of Sigmar last summer, and it is the new small format quick gameplay mode, suitable for newbies, busy dads, busy mums, players who want to collect many smaller armies wide not deep, and for players who just want a quick game from time to time. So I led the design of Spearhead right from its initial prototyping through to its final release, and I designed many of its key elements, things like the boards, the cards, and so on. Although I didn't work on the expansion that's just come out for it. Okay, let's begin with a quick rundown of how Spearhead works and how it is different to regular Age of Sigmar. Spearhead is a game format for Age of Sigmar 4th edition, and by that I mean it takes the core rules of the game and adds on some extra features to make a tailored experience. And that tailored experience is one for battles small in size and quick to play. It caters for beginners especially, but should be enjoyable no matter your experience or skill level. It has a
So that might seem like we are casting the net as wide as we can in the YouTube video to hit people who perhaps don't even know what Warhammer is, but maybe it's also we're building on it too. No big deal.
Number of differences to regular Age of Sigmar, and the first comes with army selection. Each player commands an army in battle, much like the regular Age of Sigmar game, but the armies themselves are much smaller than a standard army, usually consisting of a single hero and 2 to 3 other units, rather than the dozen or so you would normally see. In addition, rather than building your own army from a vast selection of units, each faction in the game instead comes with predetermined army lists. For example, say I like the Ideneth Deepkin, who are morally grey sea elves with a combination of Atlantean and Cthulhu themes.
They are not paid partners of GW and talk about other games a whole lot, so you have 100% certain proof that that's the case. Oh man, is this guy a shill or not? We have a disagreement in chat. Paid to say this for the question? No. His channel is called SPGD. Its art is something that he drew, probably. It has 2.81 thousand subscribers, and he no longer works for GW. So I would, to me, that's like case closed. Not paid to say this. Still trying to be friendly with his former employer by not overtly shitting on stuff. A little diplomacy, sure. But paid partner or something, I doubt it. Unless this video was linked on the Warhammer website, then I would change my tune. But with the views, I wouldn't think that it has been.
Instead of picking any combination from the units they have available, I instead need to pick the units that are in their Spearhead army, and these all happen to be sold in a bundle box together, go figure. Each of these sets comes with a full Spearhead force ready to play straight out of the box. Well, you do need to model and paint them, of course. Now, onto the game itself. As mentioned before, Spearhead is based on the core rules of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which means most of the rules stay the same. Battles are fought between 2 players. They take it in turns to move, shoot, and fight with their units in the same way as the regular game. And after the battle ends, which is 4 battle rounds in Spearhead or 4 turns each, whichever player has the most victory points is declared the winner. But there are some key differences to the battles as well. Firstly, it is fought on a special battlefield, just a quarter of the size of a regular Age of Sigmar battlefield.
I was hoping he would get into the reasons why that is the case. Maybe he will in the future, but I was hoping he would be like, you know, Spearhead is different than AOS in the following ways. Okay, but why? Like, what's the value in that? How hard was it to, well, not how hard was it, but what kind of avenues did you try exploring to make the game fit into a 1K shell without changing too much, right? And how much change is too much or something like that. So far, this is just like a sales pitch, which is fine. I mean, he made the game, so.
This battlefield measures only 30 inches by 22 inches in size. Furthermore, the battlefield is double-sided, with each side representing one of the different magical realms of Age of Sigmar's world. Here, one side represents Skyran, the verdant realm of life, and the other Akshi, the volatile realm of fire. The side of the battlefield you fight on will have an impact on that battle.
This sounds like a how-to video. I wanted him to talk about game design.
Each side features a different configuration of stone daises, and these are the objectives that you fight over. You'll score up to 3 victory points at the end of your turn if you control 1, multiple, and more than your opponent. There are also 2 card decks used in Spearhead, and this is where the fun really begins. Firstly, there are the battle tactic cards. Each player has an identical deck of 12. You'll draw cards until you have a hand of 3 at the start of every round. The battle tactic cards have 2 parts to them. At the top is the battle tactic. This gives you a little mission to try and pull off in the battle, and at the end of your turn you can score any of them that are in your hand for which you have met the criteria. Alternatively, each card has an underside, the command ability.
I'm holding myself back. I'm not skipping it. I can't.
As your hand is hidden from your
I can't just
opponent,
click
it can be
forward.
quite
It would
the
be
surprise
too much
helping you turn
hypocrisy
the
for
tide
me
back
as someone
or
who makes
stay in
YouTube
the fight.
videos.
However, it comes at a cost. Using a
I can't do it to
command
somebody
ability
else.
burns the card, as I like to say, meaning you cannot score the victory point from its battle tactic.
This is
on
just,
top.
he's
If you do
explaining
so,
everything about
this
the game
means if you
first, and then
ever
we'll
find
get to it.
yourself with a mission you cannot score, the command ability can help keep you in the game. However, at other times you have a difficult choice to make. Using the command
2x speed is fair game? Absolutely not. I wouldn't be so disrespectful as that. Putting a YouTuber on 2x speed is the hard R of watching YouTube videos. That's digging up the Indian burial ground that starts the whole horror movie off. Right? It's too disrespectful. I wouldn't dare. Ugh. The hundreds of hours I've spent editing all my videos, wondering, replaying the same sentence to be like, do I pause for too long here? I think I do. I'm going to trim a quarter of a second off this pause so the next part, so the sentence I have has enough room to breathe, but you still get onto the, I'm like doing that, right? And somebody just puts it on 2x speed and then I sound like chipmunks and all of that is destroyed. I can't. It would be like watching a Mr. Beast video. It would rattle me to my core. Apparently pausing the video and just yapping over it is fine. So, I don't know, we're all hypocrites in some way, but that's what reaction videos are.
and ability to strengthen your position but sacrificing potential victory points as you do so. I mentioned there are 2 decks. The second deck of cards are called the twist cards. These are themed to each side of the board, so you get one set for the realm of life and another for the realm of fire. And rather than being cards that the players draw, instead one card is drawn at the start of each round to add an environmental twist, such as healing rain or an exploding objective. Now, these cards call out something called the underdog. This is the player who has fewer victory points going into the round.
I get it. I cracked the code. I detect what Taxi 2 Stock is getting to here. Because this has been 6 minutes. It feels like an advertisement for the game, doesn't it? That's what it feels like to me, right? And so you get suspicious. I don't think there's anything to that. But that feeling is there, right? I'll give you my explanation. This is my guess. I got a guess, right? You're being sold something here to an extent. You are. But it's not Spearhead. You are being sold SPGD as a game designer. This is a demo reel. This is a demo reel for his next job. Recently left Games Workshop. Wants to be a game designer at whatever. Hasbro, Microsoft, fucking whatever. This is part of the demo reel, so he's selling himself. He's not selling the game. That's my guess. That's my take. And if it sounds like he's explaining it not quite patronizingly, but like very, very simply, you know, things that you're like fucking duh, right? Well, you have to keep in mind when you're selling yourself like this and you're showing demo reels and stuff, it's a room full of executives. And child level intellect is the average there, creatively.
These cards will often give the underdog a boost in some way or give them the choice in how the effect is applied. This means the twist cards add both an unpredictable nature to the game but also serve as a catch-up mechanic too. So Spearhead is far from the first attempt at a small format game. It's a long-standing tradition now, and there have been many of them over the years.
Yeah, so Games Workshop tried to do this many times, and that's true. And all of them largely failed, or they stopped supporting them, one of the two. And maybe they saw it coming or whatever, but so here's him being like, they tried to do this a bunch, and none of it really worked out. And then I made Spearhead, everybody liked it, hire me. You know? I'm not mad. I don't even disagree. Actually true. Spearhead was good, hire him.
Warhammer 40,000 and its fantasy equivalents. If you wanted to trace them all the way back, you could probably go as far as the Warband rules in Realm of Chaos, but that's probably a bit too far back, as that's before the flagship games Warhammer 40,000 and Fantasy Battle had become fully fledged games rather than rule sets. So I would probably trace back their origin to 40k in 40 minutes instead. 40k in 40 minutes first appeared in White Dwarf issue 274, released back in October 2002.
This is the great-great-great-grandfather of
Eagling for his
4-page rules or whatever it is.
They were a set of restrictions. If you were into the hobby at the time, I'm sure you will remember some of them. The points limit was set to 400. You must include one troops choice. You were limited to just one HQ. No special characters or characters with more than 2 wounds. No units with a 2+ save characteristic, so no Terminators. And vehicles could not have a combined armor characteristic of 33. Remember, this was when vehicles
each side of it,
armor values on their front, their sides, and their rear, so you would add them all together and make sure it didn't exceed 33. Now, for its time, this was a really fun little rule set, and I think that's because it understood a core problem with playing Warhammer 40k at small points values and tried to address that problem. And that problem is regular games of 40k and Age of Sigmar and Fantasy just are not fun at smaller points values. And the heart of the problem lies with how the power of units and rules are scaled and
Yes, I was hoping he would get to this exact point. Let's go.
How that breaks when the games are downsized.
Yeah.
Both Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar have a standard army size of 2,000 points. And on average, a 2,000 point army contains around 10 units. And a unit can be anything from a Space Marine captain to an Empire battle wizard to a block of troops, say 10 Space Marines or 20 clans.
Empire? Oh wait, yeah, Old World is back. Never mind. And now we're talking about Skaven.
And rats, all the way through to larger things like a tank, like a land raider, or monsters like a vampire lord on Zombie Dragon.
Or a Frost Lord? No?
The more
Okay.
powerful units such as monsters, tanks, special characters, and elite units like Terminators, well, they are prime targets in those larger games. And as such, they are built to weather the attacks of multiple enemy units before they can eventually be killed. They also dish out lots and lots of damage, so even if they are brought down quickly, they get to make an impact on the game. And this is important for making these units work in standard size battles. The problem is when you downscale the size of the game, those units quickly become overbearing. I remember in the early days of Age of Sigmar looking at reports of 500-point battles being played online, and the winning list would usually be something like 2 units of direwolves led by a vampire lord on zombie dragon.
Yeah.
The 2 units of direwolves would just be there as the battle line tax back in, say, 2nd edition, and they would be to stand on objectives, and the vampire lord on zombie dragon, that itself would be
Yeah, you just solos
take
everything.
on the entirety of the opponent's army, quickly overwhelm it, and just go on this massive killing spree. Not really very fun to face against. So the game is not fun when taken.
Actually, it was kind of fun to play against Andrew Yell's friend had that army exactly. It was a vampire lord on zombie dragon, minimum battle line, and possibly some other huge monster. It was a 1K. And then my 1K army was a Frost Lord and 2 Beast Riders as battle line. It's just 3 monsters. And it actually was fun. It was 3 monsters versus 2 monsters and 2 dogs. Now, it wasn't particularly healthy for a metagame, say. But if you were trying to flip a giant coin to see who blew who up, like, it was actually kind of fun. But his point is, of course, well taken here.
As is and simply played at smaller points values. Now this is a tricky problem for the growth of the game. The nature of the hobby means that players often start with small armies while they build up to a full-size game, so creating a good format has always been one of the design goals for the flagship games.
Yeah.
So when designing a small format game mode for a game like Warhammer 40,000 or Age of Sigmar, you need to think about this issue and how to solve it. For 40k in 40 minutes, the solution was through list building restrictions, essentially banning a lot of units from the game.
Yeah, and that's undesirable, I would say. To look at a huge list of 1 million bans and special extra rules. Oh, do you have to add this thing up? This money, this amount, nothing, this amount of points or less if it's over this amount, because rules change over time and you might have to update the list. Some armies are just naturally better in that space than others, you know. Maybe your only good units are expensive ones because that's the type of army you play. Well, then you're just going to be horrific, you know, if something like this is made up. But yeah, that's a decent point. And so they solved that by saying, well, you get no choice, we're just going to make pre-built stuff for you, then it'll be perfectly balanced. And well, it does cut out a cornerstone of the game. If you're talking about an on-ramp sub-game, that's like reasonable to slice off. It's better than some alternatives, I think.
Now, when Spearhead was first planned out, a core aspect from the start was going to be the complete forces contained within the box sets. Something like this isn't decided by the games designer, but by the product developer, who is thinking about the overall strategy of the game and the customer experience. I'm sure you can agree that being able to say to any new player, pick any of these boxes, it has everything you need to play inside and will give you a good...
That's an interesting... I'm going to go back for a moment. That's an interesting point you just made.
The complete forces contained within the box sets. Something like this isn't decided by the games designer.
What units are in the box was not decided by him. So a product manager walks into your office and says, this is what the box is going to be for Spearhead. Get on it. Like, do everything now. Fit this square hole into the square box, except the other way around. Yeah, that's the reality of game design. Company had problem, here's the solution. Here are the terms and conditions under which we have to do this. Yeah, we knew this, but I don't think we I didn't consciously think about the implications of that, right? It's like, I don't know, somebody tells you something incredibly obvious that everybody knows, and then Says, no, actually, it's kind of profound if you think about it this way. It's one of those things.
But by the
It's
product
different when you
developer
say
who
it.
is thinking about the overall strategy of the game and the customer experience. I'm sure you can agree that being able to say to any new player, pick any of these boxes, it has everything you need to play inside and will give you a good engaging battle against any of these other boxes, is a very, very powerful message. It did mean, however, that when we came to designing Spearhead, we couldn't rely on our old tricks of using list building restrictions to help and try balance out the small format.
So that's interesting and possibly telling. Would they have chosen to do that if they had the freedom to? It seems like the answer to that is yes. You know? I mean, he's kind of implying it. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it seems like, oh, we would have just did that if it was up to us, but the people who make the boxes just handed this to us. But how else was it ever going to work? Actually, this isn't pernicious. The whole point of it is that the entire vision is somebody is interested in Age of Sigmar and want to dip their toe in, but they don't want to buy 2,000 points. So you buy a box of stuff that's cheaper and it's playable and like you can imagine you just play it. Is that so hard, right? So if they sold those boxes, obviously you couldn't customize the units in them for your Spearhead game because you can't have people buying a box and then part of the box is useless, right? So it would have to work that way. It's not like Cruel Corpo Man, really. It's like, look, we want players to be able to buy box A or box B for their army and then play 1,000 point games as just getting into it. And they don't have the head or the knowledge yet for building their own armies. And anyway, you run into a bunch of problems at 1K with that anyway. The whole point is you buy the starter kit or whatever. And so these are just dominoes. Of course, then you couldn't really change anything except maybe war gear. That's still an option. And of course, it would be the product devs who come up with that first, and then the game devs have to pick up the pieces. Interesting. Tay Barracuda, switch hats for $69.69. Sure, I will. Manzak, it's a real streamer. Yeah, a real streamer. I'm pausing the video and talking about something else. And then the comment section on the YouTube is going to be like, just watch the whole fucking video, stop pausing. First of all, I think I'm required to make it at least semi-transformative. And I'm going to link the video down below for everybody to watch it and do their likes and subscribes. And now I will switch hats because I was forced to. We'll go with the Plibby one because it was the closest in reach. Got to make translucent content. Sure, yeah, I'll put a chroma key right in here. For Warcry, it was different. You were buying a box of miniatures that was 1,000 points in the game, but really optimal lists use 2 to 3 boxes and or allies. Yeah, and then mix and matched everything. But you're supposed to do that with big armies, maybe, and not small ones. Also, Warcry's rules were quite a bit different. Spearhead, it seemed that they were trying to keep it as close as possible within the constraints they were under, so that the real game wasn't vastly different than the sub game, which I think is a good plan.
So this is where I turn to something called negative feedback loops to try and balance the game.
I love those.
So what are feedback loops? Well, before I give my own explanation, I will give a quick shout out to another games design channel that I am a big fan of. And
who is it?
Mark Brown's Game Maker's Toolkit, or GMTK. He has an excellent video on feedback
Mark
loops.
Brown,
While the channel is focused on video games design, the lessons can be applied equally to tabletop games design. Indeed, it was his video that helped me contextualize them. So check out his video and channel after you have finished watching this video.
That art style is reminiscent. Is that the Big Giant Games soccer game here? The same one who did Hades and Bastion. What's it called? Pyre. This guy worked on Pyre, huh? All right. Interesting. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it because I didn't play that one. I played Bastion and Transistor, and that was it, but I really liked Transistor. You can't stand Mark Brown. His videos are genuinely dumb. Oh, well, we'll just cut that out for the live
link in
broadcast.
the description below. So feedback loops exist in all games. Sometimes they occur naturally out of its core mechanics, and sometimes they are deliberate systems added to a game. Simply put, a feedback loop refers to any situation where the output goes on to inform the input. For example, in 40k or Age of Sigmar, unit destruction is a naturally occurring feedback loop. On your turn, if you manage to destroy a significant amount of your opponent's units, on their turn, they will have less firepower to retaliate with, meaning you take fewer losses in return, and then back on your next turn, you will be able to deal a stronger counterattack once more. So here the feedback loop compounds the situation, putting one player into what is commonly referred to as a death spiral. Another example, this time of a deliberate feedback loop, is the glory mechanic in Warhammer Underworlds. You earn glory for completing objectives and killing your opponent's fighters. This glory is a currency you can use to spend on
Also sounds like a snowball effect, right? Kind of similar.
upgrading your fighters mid-battle. Now, spending glory doesn't reduce your total. Every glory point should be spent if you can. This system creates a satisfying play loop that rewards players trying to score early and capitalize upon it. Feedback loops can be characterized into two different types: positive feedback loops and negative feedback loops. Positive feedback loops are when a success in a game leads to more successes, or when a failure leads to more failures. This means both death spirals and win more situations are positive feedback loops. Now, it's important to stress that positive feedback loops are not inherently good or bad. It depends on the situation. So on the one hand, while it can be frustrating for a player to get caught in a death spiral, they can also reward skilled play in a way that is very satisfying. Furthermore, they are very good at bringing a game to a decisive end. As soon as one player takes the lead, they're able to build upon that victory, compound it, and win the game. So what about negative feedback loops? Negative feedback loops, on the other hand, seek to undermine successes or help balance out failures. As Mark Brown puts it
Comeback mechanics. Any fighting game players?
in his video, negative feedback loops strive to counteract changes and always keep things in equilibrium. The example everyone uses is Mario Kart, more specifically the power-up distribution. In Mario Kart, the
the
closer
blue
you are
shell.
to first place, the worse the items you receive become, whereas the most powerful items, such as the blue shell, are only handed out to players near the back of the pack. You can find these in tabletop wargames too. For example, the original Necromunda game in 1995 rewarded weaker gangs during the campaign with bonus experience and bonus credits in the form of the Underdog bonus and the Giant Killer bonus. In addition, the more powerful and numerous a gang became, the fewer credits it would receive from its income due to the tax table. You can find them across all games, in fact, even hiding in unlikely places. For example, Monopoly, the game seemingly built on nothing but positive feedback loops, has this little blue shell hiding in its community chest, the housing repairs. As with positive feedback loops, negative feedback loops are not inherently good or bad. It again depends on the situation, and they have pros and cons. On the one hand, they can stop runaway leaders, but on the other hand, they can drag out and prolong a game, denying it of a satisfying conclusion. Additionally, while they can help keep lower skilled players in the game, sometimes more skilled players can feel robbed of their victories by the mechanics. Lastly, they can...
They should get good, because if they were really good, they would have factored those in and won anyway. You knew about those. They weren't a surprise. No offense.
promote some really weird behaviors sometimes. If the incentives are too strong, you might find players deliberately trying to lose the game, especially in the early stages, so that they can secure
being in
some sort
second
of
place of the
power-up
blue
to use
shell.
in the later stages. Ultimately, I decided that negative feedback loops would be the best tool for Spearhead, and that's because, despite their weaknesses, they offered the following. Firstly, they would ensure the game is better for newer players and for players of varying skill levels facing each other, because it wouldn't compound successes with more successes and it wouldn't compound failures with more failures. This means if there are some natural advantages one side has over the other due to the asymmetry, negative feedback loops can help mitigate them. It would make the game much less punishing on mistakes. Secondly, because negative feedback loops always strive to keep the equilibrium, they can be used as a tool for balancing the game. It's on that second point where you can see how positive feedback loops and negative feedback loops fundamentally differ.
But here's the rub, and this is where it's really hard. If you're designing a feedback loop to help out someone who's losing, say, you need to come up with a system for the game rules themselves to notice that someone is actually losing and not just gaming the system. And that's hard. And we've seen, as with the way a bunch of the seasons have been scored, right? And the evolving, like, underdog things we've seen in the GHBs over time. You don't want, yeah, exactly. You don't want, I don't think you really do want sandbagging to be just the way you play. Like, the best way to play is to sandbag at a certain stage, or you can't try to win too hard or whatever like that. Anyway, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to write a rule that the players won't try to optimize or exploit against its purpose.
Positive feedback loops, by their very nature, unbalance a game as the game pans out. They do this by compounding the successes and compounding the failures. Negative feedback loops, on the other hand, because they keep both losers and winners in check and they always strive for the equilibrium, they can be used as a tool to help balance a game. This was crucial for Spearhead because a big part of the game's structure are these predetermined armies, and we were not able to use points and army building to help balance them like we normally would.
Yeah.
So what are the negative feedback loops that I used in
It's actually
Spearhead?
probably really
Well,
good,
the
though.
most obvious one are the twist.
That's the most controllable biodome you've created for yourself ever, actually. It probably makes his job way easier, because you don't have to factor in any customization at all. You know exactly what every player is going to have in their army, and you can control exactly what abilities they have, the stats of everything. It makes his job way easier. Arguably, it makes his job possible instead of perhaps impossible. It's only hard if you make the game for long-time standing players. For new players who often don't even know if they are winning, it's the perfect system. Immediately it came to mind an anecdote. The first time I played Spearhead, I was talking through it and I played I was just looking at my cards that I got for the first turn of the game ever, and I'm like, oh, I think this is how you're supposed to play this. And so I was like a new player to, well, I'm not a new player to AOS, so that's a bad example. But still, in his beginning bullet point, he did want to say, or he had 2 bullet points, and one was mostly targeted at new players, but still fun for advanced users, say, or whatever it was. So that does factor in secondarily and not mainly. But anyway, good comment.
That I used in Spearhead? Well, the most obvious one are the twist cards and the underdog system, but these aren't the only negative feedback loops. In the end, I tried to squeeze them in wherever I could, and I'll pick out some of the not so obvious ones in a moment.
Okay.
To talk about the twist cards quickly, they give the underdog a very specific bonus in most cases, and that means this is a very overt negative feedback loop. With these sorts of negative feedback loops, I think it's important that there is a random element to them, much like the power-ups in Mario Kart. Because the twist cards are randomly drawn, you can never rely on exactly which one you're going to receive. That's also why there are more twist cards than there are turns in the game, to keep players guessing right through to the end. Now, I didn't keep tabs on competitive 40k in 4th edition, as I had already moved over to the 40k team by the time it came out. I do remember the first season, the General's Handbook, there were specific bonuses for the underdog tied to each battle plan. I remember at the time my worry was that this would encourage players to deliberately try and seek those bonuses.
It did exactly that.
Encourage them to play strangely, trying to lose. I'd be interested in knowing how that panned out. So if you played that first season, let me know in the comments below.
That is exactly what happened.
The feedback loop is the battle tactics / command abilities. The fact that you cannot use them
it was
as
that
victory points
or
means players
Alpha Strike or Alpha Bunker.
Use the commands to get back into the game, while those
it was those 3.
doing so by scoring points from the tactics and not using the command abilities themselves. As with twist cards, adding a random nature to these by making them cards you draw instead of options you can simply pick, again, helps keep the game a bit more casual and beginner friendly by lowering the overall skill ceiling. Another negative feedback loop to call out is the reinforcement system. Certain units are marked as reinforcements and can return to the battlefield as a fresh unit after being destroyed. Firstly, we were able to apply this in a selective way, only making weaker forces have units that are reinforcements to begin with. But it also works as a natural negative feedback loop, because once the battle is underway, you only get to bring back a fresh unit if the first one has been destroyed in the first place.
It's also a way of cheating by putting more units in the box than are really in the box. And so I think it's a break glass in case of emergency, where if the marketing team just didn't give you enough models for this army with its normal AOS rules to look and play right, you could just have them come back to life at a certain percent. And in that way, you're putting more units in those boxes than you really get.
Okay, so here I've shown how we employed negative feedback loops in many different places inside Spearhead to use as a tool to balance the game. But there are lots of inherent positive feedback loops inside Warhammer Age of Sigmar and inside Spearhead. So the other side of the game's design was set about trying to mitigate those positive feedback loops as much as possible. I mentioned this at the start of the video, but the big Warhammer battle games, so Warhammer 40,000 and Age of Sigmar, because of the amounts of units that you have on the board and the I go, you go turn structure, so one player getting to activate all of their units followed by their opponent activating with theirs, this has an inbuilt positive feedback loop, which is the unit destruction. If you're able to destroy a large amount of your opponent's force in your turn, they have much less to retaliate with, meaning that more of your force survives intact.
Yeah, and that's the entire problem with 1K. At 1,000 points, there's just not enough left after a really good combat, or 2 with the double turn system. Whatever other things don't scale down well, and there are a few of them, priority really doesn't scale down well. And it's one of the things that makes the game scale up pretty well.
And then going into the next turn, you're able to punish them even further. In actual fact, it's a little bit worse than that as well, because it's amplified by the objectives. In Age of Sigmar, when you destroy an opponent's unit, you often do so on the objectives.
Yeah.
So not only do they lose the firepower to retaliate with, you are standing on the objectives and they are off. So for this reason, many of the battle tactics in Age of Sigmar Spearhead are actually designed in a way to promote you not fighting. They're encouraging you to disengage from your opponent, to retreat or go somewhere else on the battlefield. Now, Warhammer games are games about brutal warfare. They're not games about rainbows and friendship. So you need to tread really, really carefully here. But we were able to frame these cards so it still sounded like your units
It's a game
were doing
about movement,
Warhammer,
just like all the others. But yeah,
they
sure.
weren't fighting. So for example, raid. With this card, a unit needs to be in enemy territory but not in combat. The idea being that they are looting and pillaging.
Or you like destroy an enemy unit, so at the end of the turn, it's true that they're not in combat, but they were, right? Which isn't so much a loophole. I'm considering it more of a alternative way to play. You know, life finds a way.
Another example is this card, Take Without Warning. Here you need to capture an enemy objective without fighting over it, but it's framed in a way to make it seem like you've unleashed this cunning surprise plan upon your opponent. Okay, so that brings us
But really,
to the
you've been
end of
waddling
today's
towards
video.
that
Now, there are
objective for 2
certainly more
turns.
things I could talk about with regards to Spearhead, but I didn't want the video to get too long.
You got to get that out of your head. Make the video longer. Put all that in there. Maybe I shouldn't be giving advice on YouTube channels, all things considered, but make it longer, put all the stuff in it. If I see a video that is on a subject I'm interested in, and it's like 20 minutes long, I don't even click on it. I'm like, no, I'll wait for someone to make an hour and 50-minute video. I'll click on that one. I am not the average person, though, so take that one with a grain of salt.
And I thought looking at this idea of feedback loops, of positive feedback loops and negative feedback loops, was hopefully an interesting one, and gave you a bit of insight not only into how Spearhead was designed, but how it attempts to solve some of the problems that plague small format games. Ultimately, I think how successful Spearhead was at fixing those problems is something I'll leave up to you guys to decide, but I will say I think Spearhead has been the most well received of our small format games in recent times, and that's something that I'm really proud of. And I would say a big reason to its popularity is how it utilizes feedback loops, how it tries to put negative feedback loops in wherever possible, and also mitigate positive feedback loops. And that's not because negative feedback loops are bad and positive feedback loops are good. It's because in the context of Spearhead, it was best served by maximizing those negative feedback loops. Spearhead is an asymmetrical game that doesn't have any army building or any points. So the negative feedback loops were a great tool at being able to add balance into a game that otherwise wouldn't have any. And combining this with mitigating positive feedback loops wherever possible helped keep the game casual and beginner friendly, because it allows two players of varying skill level to face off against each other and have a close match. Usually Spearhead battles are decided in the final round. That's definitely not to say the game is perfect, and
That's true. I believe every one of my Spearhead games were decided fairly late, much later in turns than normal AOS games that I'm used to playing. And I felt all of those constrictions that he's talking about. Like, from his perspective, it's feedback loops and stuff, but from a player's perspective, I'm kind of like, I'm seeing the bumper bowling tubes where you can't get a gutter ball and it kind of bounces you back and sort of puts you on a little bit of a railroad from start to finish, you know? I felt all that and I saw all that. And that's why I'm not interested in playing Spearhead. But all of those things were successful based on what the goal was. And that's why it's a success anyway.
Without flaws, because that's not the case at all. While it tries to have this robust system that can cater for any of the Spearhead forces within it, there are times when it's still been pushed to breaking point. The Ogre Moor tribes have had to have an errata to tone them down.
What do you mean? Never mind, I love Spearhead now. Ogres were OP in Spearhead? What? Why haven't I been playing Spearhead?
And on the flip side, to this day, I still regret how weak the Cities of Sigmar one became in its final draft.
I tried to do like a streamer reacting. Was that convincing? I don't think it was. I gotta work on those.
But if you have played Spearhead, I would love to know your experiences with it, so let me know down in the comments below.
I will let you know down in the comments below.
This video too. I tried to make it as informative and as useful as I could for anybody looking to get into tabletop games design.
I tried to make it 20 minutes long.
It was an interesting watch if you're just a keen Warhammer player, you're into Age of Sigmar, you're into Spearhead. If there were any other elements or things that you wish I'd spoken more of, please let me know. Alright, I'll be back for another video next week, so make sure you subscribe if you're keen to see that. A like will also go a long way to supporting the channel grow and is much, much appreciated.
And the way YouTube has just changed their algorithm again, watching a video without doing anything else doesn't even count as a view anymore. Maybe. There are people looking into it and we're not getting a clear answer on it, but regardless, fuck me, I guess. I will click like. Channel's SP God. And he made Spearhead. Hey, alright. Do you want to say anything in the comments? I'm not usually a commenter. It'd just be some giant paragraph, you know? Nice blog, you know, this isn't about you. But I guess I'll just do it now since it's sort of what I'm doing, except talking instead of typing. I want all of that stuff. All the things that you thought your audience wouldn't be autistic enough to sit through. The really, I'm talking actual nitty gritty of designing, like the difference between what if we have guys return this turn or next turn, or ambush 6-inch away versus deep strike, how would that affect it? What did we change about their war scrolls? You know, what was our math like? This unit, we wanted this thing to work here. I want to get really, really, really specific about a problem or an open question you came across in designing the game, what your possible solutions were, how far down the road you could see for their knock-on effects, and which one you eventually chose and why. I want a ton of those. I don't care if it's longer than 20 minutes. As far as I'm concerned, this video didn't even really start happening until 10 minutes in. And then we just sort of restated the same thing for another 4. Look, I'm going to restate things. I do it sometimes in my videos as well, but yeah, start broad, zoom in. I want a lot more zoomed in. I want a lot longer. I want this video to be an hour and 45 minutes at least, and I want as many anecdotes about real rules questions that came up with your team, if you have a team. Your thought process. Oh, we weren't sure if we were going to do this or that, but ultimately we decided on this because of these implications. I want all of that stuff. But then again, as I said before, I'm not like the average viewer. So hey, all right. Nice channel. 2 videos total. Oh, dropped both of them on the same day. What a god. I can't even do that. Anyway, good shit. Appreciate it. Any final comments? I was really hoping for more specificity. I wanted a game design lecture. Maybe do that. That's my suggestion. It's probably, I don't know, maybe it sounds a little harsh, some of my constructive criticism, but I'm not constructively criticizing this. Because when I do that, I'm mean. And I feel like I just want more of all of this stuff. It's probably a good thing, right? Than less. Anyway, I'm going to hit you guys with a commercial. Somebody wanted a meme ad a million years ago. We're swapping over. All right? We're hot swapping. Get up, walk around, get a drink. It's time for shameless tier lists. Post them if you got them. Hot takes, etc.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to
The cream.
Let's find out.
Let your fingers do the walking.
I'm Mr. Buckets. Toss your balls in my top. I'm Mr. Buckets.
What do you get when you press on a can of Noxema?
Great balls of comfort.
You get
I can't believe I ate that whole thing.
Oh, where have I heard that before? Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in.
I'm calling paramedics and your family, Mr. Miller.
You can make this creamy cheese sauce in seconds with American cheese and
Cream.
mushroom Lipton cup of soup. And you thought cup of soup just made soup.
Oh, yeah.
Help! The
Cream in the World Wrestling Federation.
Wait a minute,
and there is
more real meat. You'll be glad we made him taste better. And so will he.
Hey, Jimmy Lee. Beautiful morning, huh?
Yeah, morning ain't my time, Bert.
Oh, Daddy, give me a glass of energy for my pal here.
Energy? Well, that's just
cream. The Macho Man Randy Savage.
What Nintendo don't.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, give me a
Cream.
with nut.
nothing. It certainly is a big bun. It's a very big bun.
Where's the cream?
A dream as sweet as this.
Cream.
I soaked in it. Madge, I soaked in it.
This is
The cream.
This is your brain on
Cream.
Any questions?
time to make the
Cream.
Dunkin' Donuts are always fresh. I made the
Cream, yeah.
Remember, only you can.
Cream. Nobody does it better.
Nobody does it better. Hertz leads the others by far. Nobody does it best for you.
Game screen turn on. Oh, shit. Game screen turn on has ogre mode. Okay, we'll put him over here. We'll put him over there. It's time, chat. You got a tier list? Put it in Discord. HeyWoah Enjoyers channel. Lightning round.
Oh, big.
Oh, big. But it didn't play the thing. That's weird. Probably have to fix that. Thanks for the bits, though. Get shit on for not seeing the thing. That's strange. That's strange. I would share this beer style tier list. All right. Rapid fire. Where's my stouts at? Dark beer. S tier. I like stouts. I like imperial stouts. I like breakfast stouts. The darker the beer, the better. Essentially, is my personal tastes. Okay. So around stout. My second favorite, as you might guess, is porters. Ooh, I like oatmeal stouts too. Milk stouts are okay. They vary. You know. Porters are pretty nice. You get some chocolate ones, stuff like that. I think we know what's in S. Stouts and porters, baby. And I know what is in... Hold up. Add row below. Trash. Always has to be a trash tier. Oh, I converted D into trash. Pardon me. Bring D back. As always. Bring back the D. Okay. So we're defining our terms. We start with the S and the trash, and then they meet in the middle. All right. Stouts and porters. And then looking for every single IPA and putting it in garbage trash. Because it is a fad that has lessened over the years, which I'm happy about. It's gross. The flavor of hops is not good. It smells awful. Doesn't taste good either. IPAs. Garbaggio. Everything else, D. I don't actually drink a lot of beer or know much about a lot of beer. So whatever spotted cow is, I'll put that in B. And then everything else, I'm not trying to order it. Now, the problem is I do not have a popular opinion. Right? If I want an IPA or some water with food coloring in it ass beer, which is basically all these, no offense, I will be able to find it literally anywhere. 20 options, 30 options, every fucking pub. But if I want a good ass stout, you know, Surly Darkness, you know, some imperial stout thing, a good porter, I get 0 options, maybe 1. And at a lot of places I ask for a dark beer and they're like, oh, okay, well, we only have Guinness. And I'm like, I said a dark beer. I didn't say water with food coloring in it. So it's very hard to find these, especially darker stouts, at all but the like snob kind of places. But I can find the garbage fucking everywhere, and that's annoying. Again, don't know too much about beer, so basically all these are going somewhere in the C or D. Would never order it tier. I order these. Not a big beer guy, as I said, but I do have a specific taste. So this is what you're going to get with the random tier lists. Sometimes I know a lot about the subject and sometimes I don't. But I do know one thing. IPAs, overrated. Stout and porters, BS. Easy game. Easy game, easy life. Anyway, good tier list. Do you like the Delirium Ale? I don't think I've had that. I hope I left myself enough freedom here for you to understand that there's probably types of beers in here that I would like. I just haven't really tried them and don't know what they are. And have a thing I prefer and I just get that. Like somebody's talking about Trappists, heavy Belgian stuff, Delirium. It's possible I would like that. I've had Spotted Cow from Wisconsin. I like that well enough. Very light, you know, but it was refreshing. And so I bet I would find some other stuff. Ooh, I think I've had a Dunkel. Maybe a Doppelbock or something like that. But a Hefeweizen. It's heavy in flavors like stouts and porters, Trappist. All right. Orsteiner Dunkel is very good. Next. All right, plowing through them. When it slows down, I'm going to pull out the dangerous big guns. Beer styles, Italian food tier list. I don't want to insult them. That being said, I like almost all Italian foods. It's just fucking delicious. So, soup tier list. I think I did that already. Berliner Weiss might be the biggest contrast between taste and smell. Smells like nasty cheese. Tastes incredible. Okay. It's like kimchi, kind of. Where it smells terrible, but it's super good. H-tag tier list. Put it in. The next one was by SJ, and I think he's trolling me. 90s anime tier list. Look at this shit. Okay. Look at this. Look at it. They really tried to do it. They really tried to put everything in here. Alphabetical. It's just like every 90s anime. I'm not doing it. It would be too much. And I've seen these so long ago, right? Like this has awesome, 80s, 90s, like mecha animation in it. It's so sick. Here, I'll do like keynotes, okay? In an effort to get through this at all. I'll be like, yeah, I saw AD Tank Police. It was not great. Armitage's Apocalypse Zero, saw that. This one, basically, like almost a hentai. Extremely fucking stupid. But it's trying to be, so I don't know if that counts for anything. Bastard, also stupid, but trying to be funny. A bunch of heavy metal references in it. The Knights of Metallica and stuff like that. Big O, peak. Big O fucking peak. S tier for Big O. Season 1 anyway. Don't watch Season 2. If you are nostalgic for the 90s Batman animated series atmosphere, except with Big Robo, then Big O is a good recommendation. Blue Seed, I can't remember much from. A lot of these I'm not going to remember much from because I actually watched them in the 90s. And is this Darker Than Black? No, that was later. And, a lot of these I probably haven't seen. The fuck? I'm like aware of what this is, but I've never seen it. Cowboy Bebop, the GOAT, probably still, S tier easy. In fact, it's so S tier easy that it's in danger of becoming overrated and tiresome. So I won't add to that, except to say that the rumors are true. It's that good. Cyber City, very Riffsian. A fun, stupid little action movie. Oh shit, Darkstalkers. Devil Lady. Where's Devil City? Oh wait, this is 90s, not 80s. I think that was still 90s though. Demon City or Devil City, whatever that one was called. Both of them were kind of sick. We're not doing movies, I guess, just series. Separately, the live action was bad. It was very embarrassing. I didn't watch it. I saw a preview for it. And I watched the preview and I'm just like, oh no, they tried to just have the anime. They tried to just directly do it live action with all the embarrassment and inconsistent tone and cringe shit. It looked like an amateur project. It was embarrassing. I didn't watch it. Some people said it was good, and then like 3 months later, they admitted that it was not. Yo, eat man, let's fucking go. Anyway, Fatal Fury, this one was sick. It's got the Buckle My Horror guy, which is the only thing I remember from it. And then later on, Frank told me that that guy is actually in the game. And he's like a fighter in the game. And I'm like, shit, I thought he was a fat archaeologist throwaway character just for the show or the movie, OVA, whatever it was. He was like, no, that's a fighter in there. And he doesn't say Buckle My Horror when he shoots his energy beam. He says something else. I couldn't remember what it was. Frank would know. Evangelion, of course, really good. It will not stop getting re-released forever. Don't worry about it. This is another one that's like so overrated, kinda. But it really was good, but it's more overrated than Cowboy Bebop. And that Bebop really was that good, and Evangelion was very, very good, but not quite as good as the everything. Praise God he didn't see it. I'm pretty good, especially because of what I do for my job. Like, I'm pretty good at seeing a trailer and determining whether the movie will be good or not. I have a pretty good hit rate on that one. Escaflowne, the movie is actually fucking dope. Excellent animation. Also known as the Long Nosed Person series. I think the movie is better. But dope ass animation for sure. Shu Yugi. Ghost in a Shell. Another one, famously so good. Lives up to the hype though. Hugely inspirational for the generation that came after it. Great teacher Onizuka. Just pointing out the noteworthy ones. If I don't say if it's good, assume that it is good. I will say it's bad if it was bad. Golden Boy. This shit was hilarious. I highly doubt the humor has aged well from the 90s, so caution there. It is of an adult nature, but it was fucking hilarious in the 90s. And that's rare, because usually anime tries to be funny and it's actually cringe instead. I'm looking at you, One Piece. But Golden Boy had some funny-ass moments, particularly the bicycle scene. What else we got? A bunch of Gundams. Miss me with those. I never saw them, honestly. I just missed that. I like big robots as much as the next person, but through no fault, I guess, or no purpose, I didn't do this on purpose. I've never seen any Gundams stuff. I just missed that. I was more on the American side. I was doing some, well, not American, but I was on that Mech Warrior shit. You actually saw Ghost in the Shell in the theater. It's an experience. Yeah, it's the whole package. It's got it all. Some stuff is really good, but the animation is terrible. Like Lane, Serial Experiments Lane. And some stuff, the animation is amazing, but it's like not that good. Or even just bad, like Blood the Last Vampire. And sometimes you got it all, and that's Ghost in the Shell. Gunsmith Cats. Popcorn. Fucking fun. Don't at me. Hunter x Hunter I never saw. Supposedly the manga's really good, not sure. Initial D, I only know the memes. I don't really care about Fast Cargo Fast, so whatever. Captain Taylor, for some reason I watched all of this. And I was like bored the whole time, but it's famous. The Irresponsible Captain Tyler. And I like watched all of it, and I have no idea why. Jinro. You see, everybody has seen the badass fucking exoskeleton dudes with the red glowing eyes shooting the machine gun, right, in a sewer or something. And the animation's awesome. They look so sick. And then you watch the movie, and it's a tragic psychological thriller of depression and propaganda and betrayal and man at war with himself. And you don't get what you think you're going to get, but it's good anyway. Okay? It's good anyway. Kaite, if you want torture porn, not torture porn, it's like a, just like super violent, good animation, kill people stuff. Funny story about Kaite. The only way they could get funding to make it, because everybody said no, the only people who said yes was a porn studio, but they didn't want to make a porn. They wanted to make like a fucking, like just super violent action movie. But the only place they could get funding was a H studio, and so they just threw 3 random sex scenes that are terrible in it and have nothing to do with the plot at all, just to like check the boxes so that they could make their thing. And I find that funny. Key the Metal Idol is not as smart as it wants to be, but it's got some interesting scenes in it. If you're in psychological horror kind of stuff. Jubei-chan I was forced to watch by someone who said it was good, and they were lying to me and themselves. What else do we have here? Ever watched Devilman OVA? I want to say yes because it's so... Wait, yes, I have, yeah. In fact, I might have used a clip from it in my Riffs intro. Not OVA. Yeah, I know it's original video animation, but I'm just like phonetically reading chat sometimes. Apologies. Also, sometimes it was OAV and not OVA because they swapped them back and forth half the time. But it still stood for the same thing. No, you got to check the cred. Sometimes, you know, we got these tourists over here, right? Macross kind of sick. Is Record of Lodoss War 80s? I guess that would be in the R section anyway. Lupin stuff I never really saw, but it's like way more adult than I thought it would be. Not in that way, but in a different way. MD Geist is so fucking bad that it's funny. Classic blockbuster shit. Memories. Okay, Katsuhiro Otomo's Memories. Watch Magnetic Rose. Skip the other 2. No hate. Dirty Bomb has fantastic animation wasted on a really boring story, but I get the idea. And the propaganda one is like saying true things, but you like, you know, like, okay, yeah, I get it, right? Watch Magnetic Rose, skip the rest. Katsuhiro Otomo famously did Akira. I thought he did Spriggan, but he didn't. It was just his animation team. But Spriggan, speaking of, fucking popcorn ass movie. It is not deep. It isn't trying to be. Cannon fodder is cool from a theory. Yeah, I mean, you get it. Like, you get it. And I get why they did the art style in the way that they did and everything. But it might not be appreciated. It's worth a watch if you watch the first 2 and you're like, Dominion Tank Police again. Which one is this? I can't, it's so familiar looking. So is this. Man, it's been forever. Ninja Scroll, damn, the classic. This is probably what inspired Kaite. A whole generation of like gruesome, violent, badass 90s anime shit. Grindhouse, as they call it, okay? You watch it and be squeamish and, oh, that was so sick, etc., etc. It's from a different time. Oh my goddess. Oh, Bill Dandy. literal Forever Alone, the anime. Watch it if you are forever alone. It probably hasn't aged well. It definitely hasn't aged well. But hey, all right. I think they made other ones. They suck. One Piece, good manga, terrible anime, unwatchably bad. I don't think this is a popular take, but it is literally unwatchable. Just shrieking and screaming, stupid ass facial expressions, trying to be funny, never is. Just garbage. Read the manga, skip it. Shonen, yeah. I talked about Paddleboard already. Yeah, Perfect Blue. This isn't an anime, okay? Watch Perfect Blue if you want to watch a film, okay? Sometimes a foreign director is obsessed with another country's film history and does his own spin on it. And that's always usually interesting. And this is such a case. Satoshi Kon. Or maybe his best, I'm not sure. A lot of people say Paprika, whatever. Taken too soon. Outlaw Star is like the really, really stupid version of Cowboy Bebop, but it's still fun because of how dumb it is, and it knows it, okay? It's in on the joke. Folks are super up their own asses about One Piece. I don't know why, but hey, all right. Not everybody has to like what I like. Porco Rosso, Frank's favorite out of all of them. Well, shall I say the most underrated, I guess. Do watch it. It's the only one he made for himself. Princess Mononoke, arguably the best, although that's not true. It actually is Spirited Away, and it's kind of annoying because Spirited Away is his best, even though I'm loath to admit it because it's the popular one. Hey, all right. I like it more, though. I like Mononoke more. I particularly like how the bad guy is actually interesting and kind of based. Ranma 1/2 certainly has not aged well, especially after about 2015 or so. Probably skip it, I'm going to be honest. I didn't like it back in the day either. So there's Wreck of the Lotus War. Shoestring budget for sure. Really so excellent for stills and artwork and stuff. It's just a bunch of Japanese guys' D&D campaign that they decided to animate. Definitely hasn't aged well, and it's probably boring nowadays. But it was formative, fuck you. They did a second series about a berserker or something. I don't think it was any good. Revolutionary Girl Utna. This is the famous or infamous... Oh, speaking of shoestring budget, Utna, the entire series of Utna was made with $12. That's it. And yes, they did turn into motorcycles, and it is a lesbian couple that turn into motorcycles at the end of the movie. That's the one. It's that one, okay? But that doesn't happen in the actual show. That's just the movie kind of running with it. Robot Carnival looks cool. I recall it being kind of interesting and having cool animation and shit, but it's more like a tech demo than a movie. Rurouni Kenshin. People liked it. The series was trash. The OVA was kind of sick, but super like emo and cringy and stuff. And it turns out the creator, I'm not going to recommend it. I don't normally do the don't recommend a thing because of what the creator did stuff. I think that's, well, I could go on a big tangent about that, but I don't normally do that kind of thing. Don't watch Rurouni Kenshin, and don't look up what happened. Anyway, Sailor Moon, super famous. Never really watched it, but then again, it wasn't really for me. So hey, all right. What else we got here? Shadow Skill. Yeah. Lane, I really liked this because I was the exact target audience at the time. It had some really interesting, cool ideas. It was made with $16 instead of $12. And they also made a video game, and if you like fake deep shit, and you're 15, this will change your life. What did he do? Jesus. Why didn't I listen to you? Yeah. Yeah. Beyond Cosby, okay? Let's just put it that way. Much younger. All right, moving on. Slayers, Fun and Dumb. Fun and Dumb, if you're into that. There's a whole bunch of them. I don't know which one I watched, but it was kind of neat. What's fake deep? The Matrix. It's not a criticism. It's just like absolutely inhaling the sauce as you psychoanalyze everything. And just get super weird and creative with it. I don't know what Thumbelina is doing in here. Or the Sanic thing. Tenchi Muyo spotted. Yeah, Tenchi Muyo famous. I don't think I saw too much of it. Oh, Street Fighter 2, the movie? Absolutely, positively based. So good. Is it the only good video game movie ever? Hold on. Quick tangent, chat. Street Fighter 2, the animated film. Is it the only good video game movie? I heard the Sonic movies with Jim Carrey in them are like good for kids and stuff now, so maybe that's okay. I'm not sure. Certain parts of the first Mortal Kombat are so campy that they are actually entertaining, but it drags its feet constantly and only has like 3 good parts. But the good parts are so hammy and so over the top. The fucking who's the guy? It had Highlander as Raiden and what's his name as Shang Tsung. So good. Your brother's soul is mine. So fucking good. And bad and good. Would we count Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves? No, it's a ttrpg. It's different than video game. I will count it differently. Although I heard that was better than it should have been. And I remember when the original came out. And even I was sitting on the floor in front of the VHS. Or the VCR, and I'm like, damn, this shit sucks. Street Fighter Alpha. Not quite as good as Street Fighter 2, but it's like worth a watch if you were into that at that time. Oh, dude, and they decided Kano was Australian, and it just stuck. It was an idea so perfect, it just stuck. Aya Ta'aya. Fucking dude, I can't remember the actor. He did a great job. They were trying to make a campy-ass movie, and they succeeded. Maybe MK is fine. Maybe it is fine. Maybe I'm being too snooty. Spriggan. Pure popcorn movie. It's literally just like a cool-ass action movie with no depth and amazing animation. Get the popcorn. Not everything has to be brainy or high art or anything like that. What else we got? I remember 2 being a lot worse than 1 for MK, but who knows. Trigun, this series annoyed me a lot. It looked really cool, but I hated the main character with a passion. And it got silly all the time, which I felt was stupid. And their philosophies made no sense at all. But it had a lot of really cool ideas. I found myself frustrated watching it, wishing that it was serious, and it just wasn't. And it wasn't trying to be. But it had all sorts of little stuff in there that was good. Oh, Video Girl AI? Oh, the original VTuber? Virtua Fighter. I haven't seen Virtua Fighter. Whispers of the Heart. Another Lotus War. Egos. Garbaggio. I feel like I'm missing a whole bunch. We're missing a whole bunch of movies, I think. But maybe it was late 80s instead of early 90s for a bunch of these. Well, hey, alright. Dragon Ball Z, skip all of them, obviously. GT fucking sucked, though. Yeah, original Dragon Ball, a lot of it was 80s as well. A lot of Dragon Ball, yeah. A lot of Dragon Ball is. What am I thinking of? Angel's Egg, that was good. I think Angel's Egg is like getting re-released or something like that. And I'd be interested to return to it. I recall liking it, but I can't remember too much about it. That might have been 80. Oh, was it 80s? Okay. Demon City, same thing. Am I thinking of the right one? There was like Demon City and Devil City. Or something like that. And one of them was just like super violent, kinda hentai Men in Black. It was the exact Men in Black plotline. And it was before Men in Black. So it is my opinion that somebody in Hollywood watched Demon City Grindhouse and then wrote Men in Black and made it for kids. It's popcorn. Popcorn for sure. It was more like a paladin. Well, it was like, okay, instead of demons, we'll make it aliens. And then it's Men in Black, right? Popcorn, like just for fun, shits and giggles. Yeah, just, it's not deep. It's not trying to be deep. It's just like, oh, look at the cool animation. Guys fighting, eat popcorn, have fun. It's a positive thing, right? I call it a popcorn movie because it's just trying to be entertaining and not everything has to be high art, right? So it's like the general reason I say stuff like that. Eat man. You always have to be fighting against your inherent snobbery nature when you have a film degree. You have to not be a snob. You have to remember what the meaning of fun is. You know? That being said, if you are, go ahead and watch Perfect Blue. You'll fucking love it. Probably. Speaking of speaking of film snobs, how do you like that? How do you like that segue? The New York Times 100 Best Movies of the Century, which would mean 2001 until now, okay? And I saw a few of these, and my jimmies became rustled, okay, to use an ancient meme. Well, mid-ancient. And I will now look at this list, and I don't want to talk for 16 hours, so I won't. But I will just very quickly point out the objective mistakes. Why is Superbad on here? Cultural impact. I wouldn't put it in the top 100, but cultural impact is an important category in stuff like this. And so I'll defend Superbad slightly. Don't worry. This will be like shooting fish in a barrel. I got better targets. Gravity is literally bad. It's just a terrible movie. I'm not even talking about the realism, which was awful, or the script, which was boring, or the acting, which was poor, for two otherwise good actors, or the effects, which were somewhat nauseating and unrealistic. It's legitimately a bad movie that I would advise people to avoid seeing if they were going to. I can't believe it's on the best movies. And it says best, right? It doesn't say box office, whatever. The century. Well, quarter century, right? But hey, all right. Memories of Murder, didn't see it. I can't say. Grizzly Man, look. I like Werner Herzog probably more than the average man. Grizzly Man, I think it actually spread into popular culture, which none of his other movies have ever done. And then it's on this list to throw the man a bone, and he's a genius. So, fair enough. Okay? What is the best Werner Herzog movie? It's Augury of the Wrath of God, and you have to watch the making of right after it. I think it's called My Best Fiend. I'm not sure, though. Although I really like his documentary short about the crazy pastor of the wannabe megachurch guy. But hey, be that as it may. Grizzly Man. Have you ever watched The Northman? Yes, I did. It was really good. It was. I found watching it to be uncomfortable at moments, and not for the reason you might think, like violence or whatever. But it was an uncomfortable watch because it was telling the story in an old way. It was treating an old story as if it was being told in the past, and that caused it to be an awkward, slightly uncomfortable watch. But I very respect why he did it that way. And I find that to be quite interesting. And so it was sort of a loop. Yeah, I tend to like Eggers' stuff. Maybe it'll be on here. I don't think so, though. Black Panther, no. Movie sucked. Weird wannabe Lion King ass Marvel thing. I don't know. I had to watch it because, I don't know, somebody wanted me to watch it and everybody was watching it. I didn't think it was... I wouldn't even put it in the top 10 comic book movies of the last century. I mean, it's like culture. I suppose cultural impact. It had a lot of cultural importance, sure. But I don't think it was a particularly noteworthy movie in any way. Worst Person in the World, haven't seen it, can't say. Minority Report is an interesting choice here. And I don't think I agree. But it was kind of like watching a scientist make a movie. Spielberg getting all the... I was finishing AI, artificial intelligence, for my friend who died, and I just got all these ideas and I had to put them out. Felt like that kind of a movie. Overall, very interesting and forward-thinking, or trying to be. But it is a surprise that it's here. I don't think I would put it in the top 100. Not to say that it was bad. Michael Clayton, haven't seen it. Can't say. Gladiator, sure. Cultural significance probably rockets it up into the top 100. super popcorn for its time. Hasn't aged particularly well. But, you know, super popular popcorn stuff, not trying to be historically accurate. As he doesn't. To my chagrin, actually. But, you know, fair enough. Haven't seen this stuff. Interstellar is exactly 42% of the best science movie I've ever seen. And then there's all that other stuff that kind of ruins it. God damn, did it want to be 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it just wasn't. Yeah, if I could just, like, puzzle pieces, pull out half of the movie and put them back together, it would be, like, peak cinema. But it wasn't. I don't think I would put it here. The Gleaners and I haven't seen it, don't know. Lord of the Rings, the whole thing? Yeah, easy. Easily. I can't believe he did it. From the maker of Dead Alive. And Meet the fucking Feebles. Like, a man who only made purposeful garbage. And then he's like, I'm going to make Lord of the Rings. And they gave me a check with just an infinity symbol on it. And then it made an infinity symbol amount of money. So, hey, all right. Cultural impact, massive. Tried to do a lot of stuff in camera. Tried to do a lot of practicals, which means it will age well, unlike CG, which ages very bad. After 2 years, the best CG you've ever seen 2 years ago now looks flat and weird, and you laugh, right? Even Avatar, right? Doesn't matter how much you spend. Practicals, in-camera tricks, still got it. Lord of the Rings, so good. Didn't see it. Anchorman, yeah, probably cultural impact. They got to put comedies on here somewhere, right? This defined like a decade, probably, of the most annoying person you've ever met and their comedy. Melancholia, no. Black Swan, I don't know why Black Swan is on here when it is an inferior copy of the superior movie about the same subject, and that movie is The Wrestler. Get this out of here and put The Wrestler here. If The Wrestler is above it on the list, then I still say remove it, because we don't want duplicates. Another Darren Aronofsky. No, wait, Terrence Malick. Pardon me, The Tree of Life. I was thinking of a different one. Speaking of Aronofsky, whose consistency is insanely bad, but that's whatever. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Every single person in the world has watched this except me. They all say it's very good. I believe them. It looks like a movie I would like and want to watch. It's in my maybe pile. I haven't gotten around to it. It's been 3 years. I haven't gotten around to it. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? You pick arguably one of the worst Coen Brothers movies ever, and it came out in 2000. That's not this century. That's last century, okay? A century begins with 1, not with 0. So it does not belong on this list for 2 reasons. 1, because it's not that good. And 2, because it's not from this century. Eat shit. New York Times. I was thinking of The Fountain, you're right. That's what I was thinking of, not Tree of Life. Armauer, haven't seen it. Florida Project, haven't seen it. Ratatouille, sure. I'm not like looking down on it because it's a Disney cartoon movie. I just actually think, sure, yeah, somewhere in the top 100. Especially if you count impact. Ocean's 11, no. Garbage. Not even for popcorn. Carol, Let the Right One In. I thought Let the Right One In was way older than 2008. That's a shock to me. Damn, I felt like like Let the Right One In was older than 2008. I'm surprised it was that recent. But it was really good and creepy and good. I'm actually surprised it's on the list, but not in a bad way. Under the Skin. Is this Pedro Almodovar? Or am I thinking of The Skin I'm In or something like that? The Skin I Live In. Scarlett Johansson. I might be confusing the two. I mean, I could just click, right? It'll just tell me. Okay, yeah, it's this other one. Yeah, didn't see this one. The one I was thinking of was, I think, The Skin I'm In or something like that. Super creepo, super good. Pedro Almodovar does not disappoint, typically. Hurt Locker, bad movie. Literally bad. It won the Academy Award because everyone hates James Cameron. But it's not good. Does not belong in the top 10,000. Blanchett Tar. I don't know what this is. Do they mean Bellatar, like the director? Nope. Okay. Haven't heard of it. I would be shocked if a Bellatar movie was in the top 100. Tar was fine. It was okay. Okay. Well, that doesn't sound like 67th best movie in the past 25 years, though. So hey, all right. Sloppenheimer, didn't watch it because I know too much about this, and watching it would ruin it for me. I would be too mad at every detail that was wrong or interaction that was different or whatever. I would be too upset. I'm sure it's great, but I didn't want to watch it. Gone Girl. Little Miss Sunshine was very influential in that it kind of started the whole mumblecore kind of thing. That's a bad thing, by the way. It's a feel-good, funny kind of family movie thing from 2006. Probably didn't age well. I don't know if I'd put it in the top 100, but I'm not ready to call it bad. Yeah, I would not call it bad. Memento. I mean, are we trying to find an Aronofsky movie to put here? Because that movie should be The Wrestler. And after that, I would say Pi. I don't know that I would put Memento here. It's like a experimental editing, right? Like it's too much of a gimmick. It was too much of a gimmick for me to enjoy. That's my problem with it. Is that it was too much only its gimmick, and then I couldn't enjoy it. Maybe that's my problem. Kill Bill, maybe, but certainly not Volume 1. And that's all I'll say about that. Whiplash. I only know the memes, okay? I only know the memes about Whiplash. But I'm a fan of, what's his name? I keep wanting to say J. Jonah Jameson, okay? But that guy, I like his work. Supposedly this was very good, and I think I believe it. Uncut Gems. Interesting that they would put this here. I thought they would be tempted because they're gonna... Okay, if we have to choose an Adam Sandler movie where he actually acts, he proves that he's capable of acting, he just never wants to. Instead, he wants to embezzle from studios and pay his friends millions for doing nothing. First of all, based. Second of all, basically only makes terrible movies that should never be watched by humans. Uncut Gems is one of the two examples, next to Punch Drunk Love, of him actually proving that he's capable of acting. And I like Uncut Gems more. And I thought if they were going to choose one of these, they would have chosen Punch Drunk Love because they're hipsters or something. But Uncut Gems is great. Really liked it. Best in Show, very funny, from the makers of this is Spinal Tap, which is a better movie, but it's from the 70s, so it can't be in this one. Also, 2000 Detected, that's not 2001, so not this century, but it's, I mean, they got bangers. Mockumentary. They do a great job with it. I don't know if it's aged well, but it was funny that, oh, they put Punch Drunk Love right here. So just two Adams... Poetic. It's like poetry. 2 Adam Sandler movies in the top 100 films of the last quarter century. And they're not even wrong. That's the crazy part. They're not even wrong. Wild. I wouldn't have put both for maybe an administrative reason. I don't want to double up on Adam Sandler serious movies, right? Not serious, but you know what I mean. Actual movies. I would have only gone with Uncut Gems, and then Punch Drunk Love gets a little asterisk next to it. This is late since you moved on, but the century started in January 1st, 2000. From that day until January 1st, 2001 is the first year. The century ends in December 31st, 99. It's a bit, but thanks. Appreciate it. Inception, bad. Inspired by Dark City and The Matrix, worse than both. Get off my lawn. Bad. Pan's Labyrinth. Is this? Yeah, this probably is. This probably should be the one if we're going to do a Del Toro, right? Guillermo. The hipster in me doesn't like that this is the one he gets in the top 100 because it's the one everyone knows and the one where he kind of broke out, right? But the man likes making fairy tales, and it's a fairy tale. With a... Hey, all right. It's great. Sure. Borat. Looking at this, I talk about aging well or not aging well as we scroll up the list. And we get to, I'm going to just call it, the movie that has aged the least well of any movie on this list without even knowing the other 50. But you cannot deny that it had cultural impact. I still say My Wife to this day. And I haven't even seen the fucking movie. I've only seen a bunch of clips. And it is really cringe now. But people fucking... Boy, did they laugh at it when it came out. Very nice. It's still funny to do the bit. Oh, I can't stay mad at you. 12 Years a Slave. The Favorite. Didn't see it. I got plenty of white guilt already. Don't need more, thanks. Up. Yeah, sure. Even though the hipster in me kind of doesn't like it. It's too... how do I describe this? It's too by the numbers, on the nose manipulative at all moments. That almost makes me distance myself from it, especially watching the beginning. But I think I need to chill out maybe. Before Sunset. The Lives of Others. I have a funny story about The Lives of Others that I've told before. When I was in college, I had a script writing teacher named, should I change names to protect the innocent? His name, I won't. His name was Mr. White, okay? And he was black and huge and had a kind of staggering intellect. And his manner of speaking was the best diction I have ever heard in person. Perfect diction. Deep, rumbling, chocolate baritone. Huge, okay? Commanding presence as an orator, this guy. And one time, a girl asked him, what do you think was the best movie? Or did she say movie or script? I think she said movie. Yeah, it basically James Earl Jones, except a teacher at a film school. One day this girl asked him, what do you think was the best movie that came out in the last 10 years? She asked. And without even stopping to think, he immediately intones, that's easy. In fact, I'll tell you the best film of the last 100 years, and it is The Lives of Others. And it was so fucking funny that I remember it to this day. Just somebody asking like a really hard question that you would have to think about. That's easy. Just immediately. So good. Almost Famous, no. Brad Pitt Moneyball, okay. This is kind of like a pet movie of mine. I really like it, even though it's transparently almost like a script writing clinic of a movie that takes away a little bit from it because you can see all the gears turning. But I don't care. I'm a script writer. I like scripts. And this shit was great. Yeah, it's about baseball, but not really, but also it is. So many memorable lines, so many memorable interactions. It's got the only Philip Seymour Hoffman part where he's completely underused and wasted. and just isn't used for anything in the movie, and I don't even like him in it. Got Brad Pitt being an actor, man, and he does a good job. Moneyball. Like it. Jonah Hill being an actor as well. This was part of the transition, right? This is in 2011. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I wouldn't put it there. I watched this movie, and I don't know if I liked it. But I think I could tell that if I was born in 1954, I would fucking love this movie. But You Really Had to Be There is an alternative title for this movie. I guess it's got some good memes in it too. And it's a weird revenge fantasy, except it's a revenge fantasy from the director to a serial killer personally, like a letter. Which is interesting. Kind of like a meta thing. Old Boy, yeah, sure. I mean, if we're going to put a Korean movie in here, it's this one. It's the one everyone knows. But yeah, it really is that good. And it was that good at the time. And the remake is gutter trash and unnecessary. Who the fuck was the guy who did Spike Lee? Who's made one good movie ever, and that's it. And Let's Do the Right Thing. Anyway, The Master. No, I don't think so. I like Philip Seymour Hoffman a lot, but I didn't much care for The Master, even though the acting was very good. Amelie, sure. I guess. Yeah, sure. I'll say it. 41, maybe not, but yeah, Amelie. A little too popular for my tastes as a fake, not popular movie, you know? Like, oh, bet you haven't heard of this. We did. We did hear that. Yee. I haven't seen it. Lady Bird. Jackie Kennedy, right? Didn't see it. My mom saw it. She said it was okay. And so my mom seeing it and saying it was okay got it 39 out of 100, I guess. Inside Man was Spike Lee's best movie. I forgot about that one. Okay. I'll take that suggestion. I'll think about it. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is a wonderful title. Haven't seen it though. Call Me By Your Name. Again, my mom saw it. She loved it. So the difference between my mom saying a movie was all right, number 39 the last 25 years, and loved it, 37. So that's the range there. Serious Man, no. Why are we choosing boring Coen Brothers movies to be in the top 100? Because all their best ones were in the 80s and 90s? And we have to throw them, we got to throw them in here somewhere because they're so good. Like, you know, Fargo, The Big Lebowski, Raising Arizona, like a live action cartoon. So good, right? Even Blood Simple. What's a Coen Brother movie made in this century that's like, that hits those peaks? No Country for Old Men, probably. Yeah, for sure. No Country for Old Men. Easy. And it's got the cultural significance to back it up, which kind of, the cultural significance of it kind of ruined a little bit of it, but I still really liked it. I wouldn't put this in here though. WALL-E, yes, for sure. Actually, WALL-E. One of the last gasps of any creativity at all from Disney or Pixar, sadly, but all things must come to an end. Also, if you want a absolute clinic in sound design, holy, it's WALL-E. You hated that movie even if you get it? I'm sure, look, I'm thinking of a movie where I agree with you, and it's probably on this list. And so we'll get to it. Bridesmaids, no. I mean, they let Anchorman in the building, so I guess fucking Riff Raff can show up too. The Departed, no. Another filmmaker who is really good that they put one of his not good ones in just because they happen to have been made in this century. No. Lost in Translation, also no. I'm gonna come out there and say it. The movie was made for the actors in real life, and you had to be there for it, and I wasn't there for it. I was only watching it. Arrival was cool. I don't know if I would say 29th best movie. Yeah, it was good. It was written well. I don't know if I would put it this high, though, but, you know, hey, all right. For the record, you hated No Country. Yeah, and I figured, yeah. The Dark Knight, no. Massively culturally significant, obviously. But just simply not good enough. I'm skipping ones I haven't seen. An alternative title for Arrival is I Sleep. That's why it's good science fiction. Real science fiction should put people to sleep. That's true. Her, no. Boyhood. This movie fucking sucks. There are movies that are good, and there are movies that are bad. Even bad movies can be good if they're entertainingly bad. Boyhood is tragically boring. I mean, it's almost a meme now about how bad Boyhood is. It took 12 years to make, right? Like, everybody knows the meme. Trash. Kind of exploitative, too. Trash. Grand Budapest Hotel, I don't know. I've only seen one Wes Anderson movie, and it was the submarine one, and I thought it was kooky. And that's it. I'm like, oh, this is kooky. And then he made like 12 other movies, and I never saw all of them. So I don't know. Maybe they're great. I'm not sure. Maybe something happens to your brain when you become a parent. Like biologically, you become a parent, and then suddenly you like Boyhood, right? But it would be under duress. It would be your brain doesn't work anymore. Wolf of Wall Street. Speaking of your brain not working anymore, get this shit off the list. Look, he's made some great movies. They were all in black and white. Wait, no, Taxi Driver was in color. Wait, was it? Random question: have you seen Das Boot? Yes. Eisenstein. Kind of invented a lot of editing techniques. It was very important. Absolutely unwatchable, of course. Like it's just like you would watch it to see the history of editing and things of that nature. Y tu mamá también. 18, really crazy. I mean, yeah, coming of life, or not coming of life, coming of age. Pretty impactful at the time, I think. I don't even know how to feel about it. It was good, and it seemed almost like an actuality more than a movie. But that's what it was trying to do, and I think it succeeded. I wouldn't put it at 18. Where's Charlie Wilson's War? I love that movie. Fuck you. That movie is great. Really just, if you know anything about the time period, and you like watching actors fucking big act, okay? It's great. Bring the popcorn. I don't know if you're making fun of me or not, but that movie's great. Brokeback Mountain. I didn't see this, so I don't know anything about it. It had cultural impact, I guess. City of God, I haven't seen it. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, true, actually. I don't know how well it holds up, but true. Certainly not 16. But yeah. Also, hey, where's my Wong Kar-wai movies? Maybe we'll see them higher up, okay? Inglourious Bastards, yeah, that's probably his best in the 2000s. So this one does belong, even though it's a massively flawed, just like all his other ones are. It's half of the best movie, like, ever. And then the other half is retarded. But that's Tarantino. You can't get the good without the bad. Children of Men, put it at exactly 100. For technical filmmaking, creativity, or something like that. They chopped the car in half. Whatever. But not 13. Zone of Interest, don't know, haven't seen it. Mad Max Fury Road, actually, yes. It quite possibly is the definitive action movie. No, it's not. It's the definitive chase movie. It beats out The French Connection, which was once considered that, okay? And it has the single greatest scene in it, or introduction maybe, or cut to, or I don't know. It's got the best, like, 30 seconds of film, perhaps. And that's the introduction of the Doofwagon. The first time you ever see it. It's so fucking perfect. The Social Network, no. Put it in 599 maybe, somewhere around there. Hat tip Trent Reznor for his 16th Oscar. Is that the one with the dude playing the flamethrower guitar? Yes. In fact, hold up. Can we just watch it? Let's do it. It's a React Andy stream, okay? Okay. This may or may not be the scene. Here it is. Some of the best 20 seconds you'll ever see on Silver Nitrate. God damn. This is what Dreamland and Wonderment are made of. It's perfect. All real vehicles, everything worked. Practicals, the guitar worked. The flamethrower was real. The idea for it goes back in history to bagpipers and stuff. Fifemen, right? Crazy world this person's created. Absolute soul. Damn, let's watch the whole thing. Yeah, dude, let's watch the whole fucking thing. I was about to say that Mad Max Fury Road was the definitive action movie, but that is still, to this day, Terminator 2 Judgment Day is the definitive action movie of all time. Mad Max, definitive chase movie, we'll say. Maybe I can split the difference with that one. Spirited Away, yeah, it's Miyazaki's best, probably. Fuck you. But I only am annoyed by that because it's the popular one, and for once the people are probably right. But I don't really want to watch it again. I watched it once, it was basically perfect, but I was kind of annoyed by its perfection. Sort of like listening to the band Cream. It's almost, I don't know, I need to stop. It was very good. Yeah, a 85-year-old man comes back and shows all the fucking kids how to make a goddamn action movie. Rolls up his sleeves, and he's like, all right, hey, all you whippersnappers, the director of Babe 2 Pig in a City is gonna learn you something about making an action movie. And about aggressive editing. Picking a fixed point on the center of the screen is the only lifesaver the audience can hold on to even focus on what's happening as far as editing and cutting and stuff, but which did maybe get a touch jarring at times, but they did what they could. He's in red onesie pajamas, and yet he's so sick. That's true. Get Out? No. Like, it was good. Number 8 of all time. Get out of my face. It was good. I don't even know if it's top 100. Maybe Culture Unpacked, I'm not sure. Hey, Get Out of the top 10. Damn, got him. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I saw it once in 2004, and I was very intrigued by everything that was happening. And I don't know if it's actually good or if I was just in a state of mind. And that's kind of a microcosm of the movie itself. In keeping with comedy actors who prove that they can actually act. Just a weird ass movie. Oh, speaking of, I guess Truman Show is another one. Unfortunately prescient. No Country for Old Men in the top 10, probably where it belongs. Almost too perfect of a movie that it feels distant, and then it tries to pull you in only at the very end with the monologue about the dream. That's the first time I felt the movie reach out and try to grab me. But it was too late. It's great. I especially like the sound design and the choice not to have music, really. And this was Bardem's breakout hit. Eternal Sunshine was a personality creation vehicle for white women born in the mid-'80s. Ooh. Ooh. Moonlight, didn't see it. Oh, we get to In the Mood for Love. I was wondering when we were going to get to some Wan Kar Wai. And Wan Kar Why Not be in the top 5? Literally true. Speaking of perfect movies. If you only see one Wan Kar Wai movie, it is In the Mood for Love. It's kind of perfect. And if you only see 2, Chungking Express. And you're in for a absolutely diametric opposite movie. And then there's There Will Be Blood. A movie which, like a chatter mentioned earlier, this movie is perfect. The acting is perfect. The script is perfect. The cinematography is so good. Everything about it is objectively 10 out of 10. I hated it. I was bored. I didn't like it, and I never want to watch it again. Truly did not enjoy myself watching this movie. I will take no further questions. It's objectively excellent. Didn't like it at all, and don't want to see it again. Old Davy Lynchy, my man. Okay, so we snuck Werner Herzog into the top 100 with Grizzly Man. And we snuck another idol in here with David Lynch, number 2. And of all things, they choose Mulholland Drive, which is not his best movie, but it was maybe my favorite of his. I really like Mulholland Drive. I haven't watched it in a very long time. I'm the biggest Lynch cuck ever, but even I would question it being number 2 on the entire list. But throw my man some fucking recognition, I guess. And then we have Parasite, a movie which I have not seen, as number 1. I'm sure it's great. It looked very good. And I have a power where I can watch a trailer and see through the nonsense because I make them. I'm sure Parasite is very good. David, banned for hate speech, is my man. So there might, for a little bit of context with that particular joke from chat. When David Lynch died, we made a commemorative channel in my Discord to talk about David Lynch because so many of us are such fans of his. And we called it David Lynch's Dreams. Okay? And my Discord was downgraded to private and delisted from all public searches for hate speech. Because his name is David Lynch. But some fucking robot saw the word Lynch, just the word Lynch, and that was enough to delist my entire Discord. I had to reapply to have it become a big boy Discord again and get my own custom link that I can decide instead of having it be a random string of numbers, and list it publicly again and monetize the stuff on it, which I don't use, but that comes with the package. I had to do all that, and we called it David Lynch's Dream. And I was raging at AI and robots and cancel culture and insane Twitter people with way too much time on their hands. And on and on and on. So anyway, that's the context behind David banned for hate speech. Or David Lynch's Dream. Anyway, I'm sure Parasite is very good, and I'm sure it tells a story about a rich family and a poor family, and who really is the parasite? It's both of them. But just because that's what I suspect. I don't know if that's true or not, but I imagine that's what the whole point is. Anyway, I'll probably end up watching it at some point. I'm sure it's very good. And that's the top 100. Some truly embarrassing choices here. Boyhood, Her, Wolf of Wall Street, Social Network, Get Out. Like almost, I would say just about a third of these choices are like mind-bogglingly wrong. You know, Bridesmaids, Serious Man, Lady Bird, The Master, Hollywood. Just on and on and on and on. You know, Where the Bitch Go. I mean, Gone Girl. No Charlie Wilson's War. Come on. Come on. And now the much, much, much harder one is like, what's a top 100 movie that is not on the list? Yeah, Under the Skin is a choice. If I were to put a movie with skin in the title, it wouldn't be Under the Skin. It would be The Skin I Live In. But then again, I'm a big Almodovar fan. And Black Swan instead of The Wrestler, nuts. They're both the same. Let's see. If we want to add another hipster one, we could do, what's the one? 5 billboards towards some tiny town. If we want to replace a hipster choice. Aliens was 1989 or something like, or what was it? That's too far ago. 3 billboards outside Eddings, Missouri. Yeah, that one. If we're going to put a hipster in for something, it's going to be that one. Replace Bridesmaids with Tropic Thunder. Nice. Tropic Thunder is great. Dude, that dancing. The fucking executive guy with the big hands. There was no comedy in that. That was just, that's what they're like. The way he acted and talked and thought, okay, and kind of looked. That's a documentary on studio executives. It's no fiction. Yeah, Tom Cruise. Bone Tomahawk, yeah. Bone Tomahawk is a good ad. I'd put it in the 80s somewhere. Bone Tomahawk is a quality edition, correct. I would put Your Name as probably number 4. 4 or 5, perhaps. You want to be a snob and add a single man? Was John Wick on here? No, it's not good enough. To me. I really like their attention to MMA and like gun training and stuff. But I just wish there was a movie wrapped around that. What number is Shawshank? Too long ago. This is only in the last 25 years. Otherwise, it would be a lot easier to add stuff. No, Hamilton? You know, I saw Hamilton in person on Broadway. I didn't know anything about it. It was all right. I could tell a lot of work went into it, so it was like impressive. I spent the whole time suppressing my history nerd shit, and I think I succeeded because I kind of enjoyed myself. No Training Day? Do Training Day. Oh, okay. We gotta get Denzel in here once or twice. Yeah, Mulholland Drive is 2001. It's very 2001. I was gonna say Enemy, but nah. I really liked Enemy though. The Wrestler, obviously. You'll admit you simp for I drink your milkshake, yeah. You love 13 Assassins. Didn't that come out? No, maybe that was. Wait, I'm thinking of the 13th Warrior. I don't think I've seen 13 Assassins. And what was that French one with like werewolves and shit in it? All those movies kind of like jumble around in my head. You're thinking of 13th Ghost. I'm thinking of the 13th Floor. How many of these can we pull out? Brotherhood of the Wolf, that's the one. Yeah. If you've seen Seven Samurai, you'll like 13 Assassins. I like that. I know Seven Samurai is like the super famous one, but I really do like it. It's one of my favorite Kurosawas. Did this list exclude animated movies? You might think so because Your Name is not on it, and it belongs in the top 5. But it did not exclude animated movies. It just mostly excluded them and then threw in Spirited Away and WALL-E. And Ratatouille. You're thinking of 13 Reasons Why? Yeah. Surprised Into the Spider-Verse wasn't on here, given some other wild choices. We could put it in and replace, what's the Black Lion King? Black Panther. We can replace Black Panther with Into the Spider-Verse, and then we'll replace Into the Spider-Verse with Logan. So we keep it comic themed, but we put in like good movies. You think, yeah, Whiplash was in here. Whiplash not snubbed. Watchmen, no. Was Nightcrawler in here? It was not. Nightcrawler. Okay, I was thinking Birdman when you said Nightcrawler, but Nightcrawler's the fucked up one, right? Oh, I can't remember anything from it. Anchorman gets in from cultural significance, I think, as much as comedy. It really did define an entire decade of college guys. Sort of like The Office or something like that. Like, this movie's humor is now my personality for the next 8 years. Like that, it did that. And they got to put some comedy in here, right? And comedies usually aren't, dare I say, as well made as other. I mean, we don't get a lot of horror either. Annihilation, maybe, if we have to shoe in some horror. Yeah, no Fountain. For Aronofsky, we got some of his garbage instead of the good ones. Then again, he's made so many stinkers. He's so fucked up and pretentious and bad and overtly biblical and sometimes really good. Aronofsky's just all over the goddamn place. I don't know how to feel about him. Besides, when he has a new movie coming out, I'm like, I probably want to check myself here before I watch it. You already touched on this, but why is Gravity anywhere on this list? The same reason why the movie was made in the first place. 2 big names. You got to give Hurt Locker another try. Did not like that one. Don't bother. It's on the list by mistake. Movie's bad. Not the right kind of movie either, but maybe take Hurt Locker off, put Sicario instead. Okay. I'll think about it. Was Shape of Water? No, they put Pan's Labyrinth on and they told Del Toro to fuck off. Which I guess is fair. I'm a big fan of him, and I'm a big fan of him as a what's the word for it? Like a creative director. Less so an actual director. I'm thoroughly entertained every time I see one of his movies, regardless of whatever. Like, Blade 2 was pure popcorn ham, and it was so good and dumb and great. Hellboy 2 was sick and stupid and great. Like, he makes fun shit. And it's not necessarily amazing, but it's fucking fun. Pacific Rim was one of the dumbest movies of all time. But it was goddamn entertaining. I just wish he found people who could speak English to play Americans, but whatever. Starship Troopers was the 90s. This is 2000 to 2025. You already won an Oscar. Fuck off. Yeah, Oh Brother is a head scratcher. This movie sucked. Where's the Reckminster harmonies? We need to get some long takes on this list. Yeah, The Dark Knight somehow snuck in. Massive cultural significance for sure. But, like, not great. Number 28. The Bane one was better because it had better memes, even though it was asinine and made no fucking sense at all. And seemed to be edited from clips at random. Same with the Joker one, but that one had an excuse. But just cogently, the movie made no fucking sense, even by its own logic. Nothing made any sense at all. In both of the Dark Knight sequels. So if you're talking about film, I guess The Dark Knight was the best of the trilogy, but it was the least entertaining by far. I'm happy Moneyball made it in too. Get in there. You prefer The Big Shirt? The Big Shirt, yeah. Raid 2 snub. Raid 2 trash. We have Ong Bak at home, okay? And Ong Bak, we have half of the Jackie Chan movies made in 1985 at home. They each successively wish they were the other. Like Turtles all the way down. And you want to make it after 2000? Okay. Dread. Same exact genre, just better. Also, Raid 2's choreography sucked. I said it. Choreography sucked. Flamboyant nonsense. No one can ever die until they fight for 50 minutes. Goofy ass. Lame. This guy don't miss. Damn. Really putting my film degree to work talking about bad, empty, soulless, shallow action movies. Look, anything can be art, okay? What were you trying to do? Did you succeed? Minus Dark Knight plus Ip Man. Ip Man, huh? No Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? Look. If all the times in my life I had gotten lucky instead of unlucky as far as getting work in the industry, I probably would have ended up like him with a whole bunch of not funny movies. I would like to think more creative, but who fucking knows? But Dogma was good for what it was doing at the time. It was the highest he ever reached. And so I'll say that. And hiring George Carlin to play the Pope, you get one free pass from me. Expendables was dog water? It was. Yeah. And I had written a really close script to it at the time and sent it out trying to get it optioned. And then Expendables came out. And I'm like, okay, well, at least I had a good idea. Alan Rickman was great. Oh, speaking of Alan Rickman being great, what was that fake Star Wars movie? That one was actually quite good. Surprisingly good. I can't believe it was as good as it was. Although it wasn't like crazy good, but Galaxy Quest, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Speaking of Alan Rickman doing shit. Plus it had Tim Allen in it. Dude, Enterprise Improvement. Tim Allen's best work. Well, I don't know. No, I do know. Yeah, I just live performed a search in my brain. Yep, it was indeed. Yeah, with Sigourney Weaver. All the choices were meta, which is cool. No Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull vodka, endorsed by what's his name, the quack, who was in Ghostbusters. What's that guy's name? He's got Asperger's and he's a loony kind of. Dan Aykroyd, that's it. Yeah. District 9 should be on here. You know, the more movies of that guy's I don't watch but watch trailers for, the more I think that District 9 was a complete and utter accident. Every single part of it was an accident. And yeah, I saw Equilibrium in Space or whatever what was it called? It wasn't Equilibrium. That was the Yeats poem turned into a Patrick Shootman fucking like so bad that it's funny. No, not Chappie. The one about healthcare where like rich people get healthcare in space and America looks like Iraq except everyone speaks Spanish. So like kind of true in about 40 years probably. But it was just like dog water. Elysium, that's it. Yeah, yeah. Not Equilibrium. That's another E movie. Chappie fucking sucked. It sure did. If you ever wonder, hey, I wish I could watch Chappie, except good. Well, first of all, you're out of luck. But second of all, watch Johnny 5. It's probably really funny bad nowadays. And it was back then as well. Damn, what an era. That's the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids era of like children's movie where they're like kind of fucked up. No, disassemble Johnny 5. Anyway, good shit. Good shit, bad list. I'm pretty, I don't know, pretty positive on this chat. People in this chat have kind of based movie opinions. Who knew that I would accidentally attract people with good taste? Oh, damn. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. 3.5 hours. I'm out of here. It's too hot. I gotta turn on my AC again. I might stream over the weekend something. How was pretending to be a streamer? I haven't tried doing this too much. Reacting to a thing, watching a video, Literally just talking about movies for 2 hours. Anyway. Raid Queen Bee. Oh, shit. Sumo. Any sumo enjoyers in the chat? I don't know if I can. She might have locks down on it. Who do we got? Oh, Pipkin Pippa is streaming. Queen Bee for some sumo wrestling. Waggle for Hollow Knight. Little Honey Goblin. Little Caleb MTG. Little Zone Sama, although his streams are terrible. I think they're bad on purpose as a joke. I'm serious. Like, I think they are bad on purpose as a joke. Oh, Smuggle. Oh, Professor Smugglesworth. My man Smug is live. The mayor of Duff City. Postulating the possibilities with the greatest of ease of Bad Mama Jammas. It was fun hearing your thoughts about movies with your background. You would love to see more. I'm not even trying to. This is actually how it is. But people have this, they think, there's like 2 stereotypes of film degree people that are, in my opinion, almost universally untrue. And one is the Cinema Sins type, who picks apart everything. And makes molehills into mountains. And then there's another type that's like the movie reviewer guy who, if you're not high art, you're trash and doesn't like, there's low art and high art and all this other stuff. And that's just not how it works. Even I've taken movie review, like it's, what is a movie trying to do and does it succeed at it? There's like important parts of it. There's what makes a good grindhouse movie, what makes a good comedy, what makes a good mockumentary, what makes a good bad movie. Not everything has to be, oh, I was watching Festin and Dogma 95, and oh, this is peak, smelling your own farts kind of thing. It's not like that. I'm just kind of pushing back at it. You're allowed to have fun. It's okay. A team of 400 possibly really pretentious artists came together and made Mad Max. You can use your powers for good. And then also you can still enjoy In the Mood for Love because it's perfect. And you can still not like There Will Be Blood, but admit that objectively everything about it is good. Because there's a difference between good and I liked it. Right? Anyway. Appreciate it. I think I shall raid Sumo. Because it's the boss show, Anyway, TY for watching. We're going to raid into Sumo. And I'll see you guys maybe over the weekend. I'm not sure.